Grand day, grand risings, guys. I am going to talk a little bit about some information. It'll probably be a 1, 2, and 3. I don't want to make this too long. I do have the radio show this evening. Make sure you're tuning in to Sister Soul at 6 p.m. I have the Matrix going over some information to put out to my audience. I'm so appreciative of that. We're going to be sharing a lot of stuff that we want people to just really understand. So I'm just going to wait for people. Looks like my internet acting up again. All right, Mr. Trey Ali. Shout out to Ab Power for bringing this young man around because I was not even very familiar with him, to be quite honest. So coming into the YouTube a few months ago and then running upon the indigenous communities and the other communities I've been visiting, Ab Power actually plays the showman a lot. There's actually going to be an event in Atlanta, he says, on September 21st. I plan to be there. So, if anyone's interested, you guys can search that. Trey Ali will be doing a video. I believe there's some other things going on, so on and so forth. Grand day to you, brother. First one in today. How you doing? So yeah, I'm gonna be talking about a couple of things today. Like I said, this will be some things on the Hopi tribe, and get you guys a little familiar with some things that I thought we could kind of just talk about because it's a lot. It kind of sounds like what's going on now, but back then. So give me a moment to get things started here. I'm gonna show this. I'm gonna open up something real quick. Once I get this open, hey brother, what's going on with you? Yeah, I see a lot of people probably either sleep, relaxing, busy, or doing something else right now. But I'm still gonna do this. This will be a part one. I should put part one. But information about this. Okay, can you hear me, mind's eye still? I'm actually trying to find something I want to go over. And as I go um, over this information, I just want to make sure you can hear me, or do I need to share the screen? If you can hear, if you can hear what I'm saying right now, mind's eye, would you put a one in the chat for me, brother, just so I can know that while going over this, you guys can hear me, or no? Let me know. Yeah, I'll just share the screen. Let me see. Seems like I'm having a little internet issues. I thought I had cleared that up by having my, oh, you can hear me. Okay. Perfect, perfect. Okay, let me see. Trying to familiarize myself with this computer, so I'm not sure if everything's working the way I wanted to. Let me see. Thought it was my other computer that was giving me issues. It wasn't the computer. It's actually just Frontier Internet, which is actually horrible, like the worst ever. I'm so used to Spectrum that it's crazy. Okay, let's see. I wonder why the stream is showing like this, and I can't get it to show just the screen itself. Let's see. I'm reading weird on here. I can't get it to go to the stream I wanted. Maybe it's the way I'm sharing it. Let me see if there's other options. This is a little crazy. Yeah, it's showing like the whole entire screen. Let me see if there's an option. Great light, darling. Great light, beautiful. How you doing this morning? Grandma Abcott. Thanks for coming through, sis. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I'm just gonna go here. Okay. I'm gonna start reading now, but I'm off of the streamer screen just so I can see this clearly. I don't know what's going on. I gotta do some more playing around with this computer. This Windows 10 is a little annoying. So basically, I'm gonna start to read. I'll read the first paragraph just to verify if you guys even hear me. Maybe I can stream there too, so I can at least see what you're chatting or asking. So, yes, yes, I'm gonna just enter the studio. Let me turn on the volume down on here. You guys don't get this large noise. Hopefully, you can get that on. Mute myself. And there we go. All right. I don't want to add myself, so I can remove myself from this part in a minute. So great day, brother. Oh, so you guys can see it good when I go to the stream, when I go back to the stream, guys, so I can see what y'all doing. This is what it looks like. It changes. Let me see if it's changing on your screen. No, it's not changing on y'all screen. Oh yeah, it is. So yeah, I'm gonna go back over here, guys. Just so you know, I am definitely here. I'm just making sure that I'm tuned into my beautiful chat. You know, my people. And yeah, great day, brother. How you doing, young brother? Yeah. All right. So we're gonna talk a little bit about the Hopi tribe. With this, right? The information on that, we're going to say this is from Graham Hancock, guys, just so you know. You can go to grahamhancock.com. They have a lot of information, like historical documents, books, you know, resources, things of that nature. You can kind of browse through it and figure out, you know, what info you're interested in. This is something I want to read you guys just so we can have an open discussion, hopefully, about this. This may be going to a 1, 2, and 3 part, but we'll discuss some of it and then we'll go from there. Okay, let's start here. Between Earth changes and the Hopi world of ages. And it says, some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I tasted of desire, I hold with these who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I had enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. This is by Robert Frost. By Negro Spiritual. God gave Noah the rainbow sky, no more water, but fire next time, right? World enough and time. The Hopi have lived on the desert of northern Arizona for millennia. It is a high desert which sees both blistering summers and frigid winters. The landscape seems to telescope outward, giving the mortal observer an ecstatic sense of eternity. The agrarian Hopi, equipped with mere seed sacks and digging sticks, have humbly chosen to inhabit the severe yet hauntingly beautiful terrain since the beginning of the current world ages, but for their own benefit, but simply to perform their annual cycle of sacred ceremonies. In this way, they believe that they are going the whole world in balance. Did I say that? Wait, I didn't say that right. That they are keeping the whole world in balance. Much like the Maya in southern Mexico and Central America, the Hopi conceptualize time as a series of world ages or epochs that have come and gone, destroyed not merely by random earth changes or astrophysical phenomena, but by humankind's disregard for Mother Earth and the spiritual dictates of the Creator, or the supreme deity, in other words. Cataclysm events in the natural world are causally connected to transgression. That is negative human actions. The thing that humans do are the things that affect us. Obviously, we talk about that all the time, right? All right. Each world slowly devolves as iniquities gradually increase to the point where the earth is no longer comfortably livable, practically sustainable, or spiritually healthy. This common thing among most traditional cultures of the world is the opposite of a contemporary Western paradigm that envisages unlimited progress on a long, unbroken arc into an ever grander future. The ancient Greece, for instance, knew of four world ages: the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. In the Bible, Book 2 of Daniel interprets King Nebuchadnezzar's metaphoric dream, which reveals a statue with a head of gold, chest and arms of silver, belly and thighs of bronze, legs of iron, and feet of iron mixed with baked clay. The interpretation is basically temporal, showing the successive kingdoms that would follow Nebuchadnezzar's golden reign. Now, when it comes to that, the environmental degradation due to the avaricious uh, practices of our technological world is, of course, becoming more and more apparent. Climate changes, deniers, notwithstanding, a 2010 study by the National Academy of Sciences found that over 97% of climatologists agree that anthropogenetic and humans cause green earth gases are responsible for most of the global warming in the last half of the 20th century and the first decade of the 21st. That's off subject, but I do not agree with that. Global warming is due to the solar and what's going on with the sun and going into the golden era, but that's a different part of what we'll be talking about. The Hopi have always recognized that the increasingly detrimental actions of human beings in terms of both of our social systems and the ecosystem at large are merely signs of devolving and morally degrading world age with its concomitant declining spiritual wholesomeness, lack of any predictable action on the issues of climate change just hastens our descent into chaos. Although the Hopi look at this problem from religious and moral framework, the way we treat our earth as a living organism is not just some counterculture notion of bygone ecological fad. It is, in fact, a crucial concern that continues to involve every one of us, regardless of country, class, social, economic status, or educational levels, right? Many of the Hopi acknowledge that the three previous worlds, remember this, we're going to discuss this on a later part of this segment. Many of Hopi acknowledge that the three previous worlds had ended in dire cosmic events. According to various Hopi prophecies, most spiritual leaders believe that our adverse behavior as a species and current increase in disruptive natural events are signs that we are at the end of the current age, the fourth world, which we are experiencing currently right now. We are going through the fourth world, right? All right, so let me take a drink, guys. Sorry about this. Just a moment. Okay. So let's take a look at the three previous worlds, each destroyed in a different manner. Thereby, we will attempt to assign a specific chronology to these mythological ages, right? These ages that they say that we transpired to, preceding certain times, things of that nature, so on and so forth, right? In order to understand the successful ages, we first need to make a brief overview of Earth during the most recent ice age, right? That's something else we'll be discussing, the deep freeze. The peak of the last ice age, or last glacial maximum, LGM, occurred about 23,000 years ago, with a substantial portion of the planet's H2O locked in glaciers. Sea level around the world averaged 120 to 130 meters, about 395 to 425 feet lower than it is today. But this so-called ice age was not monolithically icy. Instead, colder periods called stadials were punctuated by warmer periods called interstadials. So the warmer periods were the interstadials, and keeping that in mind, that's something else we will possibly look into in the second, after LGM ice sheets began to recede as a gradual meltdown started, a colder period called the oldest, driest followed, lasting from about 19,000 BP years before the present, which is BP, after to about 15,000 BP before present. Excuse me, guys, I'm having some sinus issues. I apologize. Um, Basically, to about 14,000, which time of the very short stadial called the older dryas appears spanning from 14,000 to about 13,700 BP, only about 300 years long. The next interstadial, called the Alaroid oscillation, lasted from about 13,700 BP to 12,900 BP. Of course, different studies produce slightly different dates. In reality, empirical science involves just as much intuitive guesswork as hard data. The Younger Dryas was the final but the most intense major cold snap, stressing out the climate worldwide from 12,900 BP to 11,700 BP. Nicknamed the Big Freeze, right? The Big Freeze is definitely something we're going to talk about in the next segment. You guys are going to, yeah, I talked about this a couple months ago, but not in depth. This geological period may be contemporaneous with what the Hopi called the Second World. See discussions below. We're going to continue reading this. guys get a number, a little more information about this. This is going to be some deep. So the Hopi world, the Sarah 20,000 BP, that's questionable, to 12,900 BP. The theme was death by fire. This is what they experienced. So this is what we're going to kind of overview. The first world had been a paradise in which humans and animals amicably coexisted in nature, like Gaia, the Great Mother. I don't believe in the Gaia stuff, guys. This is just a reference that they used. Just keep that in mind. The great, as far as them using that particular word when it comes to that, because it references to other things on other ways. So, that's open for another discussion another time. The Great Mother was a living being who gave sustenance and succor to all creatures. I do believe that. The Hopi believed that the essence of her milk was corn. Don't believe that because corn came around later. It's not natural organic. So keep these things in mind, guys. We're reading this article. A lot of the information pertinent, a lot of it that will be beneficial as far as what's going on with us, and some of it, they're just talking about things that different eras have named or stated. The native chronology is somewhat incorrect here, as I stated, since corn has been domesticated in Mesoamerica since about 7,000 BP. So it came later in their time. So that was something someone else must have brought along and kind of thrown into their history, so on and so forth. During the epoch, humans and the animals could understand each other telepathically, and all species lived in a unified web of life. I talk about this all the time, the web, which is where the Barathery era is talking about the lifting of the veil when you're doing sun gazing, things of that nature. We won't get into that, but if you've seen the previous video, you know that we discussed this. This was a natural web that they had at this time when we were being consumed by inconsistent inorganic web. A self-regulating, intricate matrix of interrelationships. In fact, it was rather like the ecosystem of the planet Pandora depicted in the movie Avatar. As we talked about before, I've told you guys the Avatar movie is something that they have, kind of mocked a lot of our history off of. Most of the movies, this has been stated by a government Navy officer. He said that 90%, about 85 to 90% of a movie is 100% facts, and they put it out there so they can say that the truth has been disclosed, but they make you believe in your mind with the mental um, uh, confusion that it's a movie. So you never believe any of this stuff is true, but it really is. Most people possess psychic, paranormal, or supernatural powers: clairvoyance, clairaudience, telekinesis, bilocation, etc. Quite simply, almost every human being had shaman-like capabilities. This was natural. This was very natural to our people. I've talked about this a lot and told you guys how they have been disseminating this. When the child is in the womb, they're doing the ultraviolet red streams with the ultrasounds. They're taking certain pills, saying that they need it for folic acid. The women are eating all these different chemically induced foods. And, when the baby comes out, they cut the umbilical cord, cutting off all the information to help enhance the parotid gland so that they can experience this. So there's a lot of that going on right now as far as being cut. Sister Alma, what's going on, sister? Thanks so much for coming through. Grand Rising, sis. So when it comes to that, eventually, let's talk about this a little more. Eventually, however, the ecological and psychological harmony began to unravel. The dissension developed. According to the Hopi legend, one handsome and beguiling creature named Kato Ya appeared. This story sounds familiar, right? I want you guys to listen to this. You know how I tell you guys the Bible. Everyone that's against the Bible, oh, the Bible is this, and oh, the Bible is that. The Bible is, da 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 da. Let's just get rid of it. Let's just burn it. Let's this and that. I want you guys to understand that a lot of this information from the Bible is only our past history from our ancestors, guys. So we got to understand, and we have to learn how to decipher when you read information. This is why it's very important to read. A lot of things when it comes to stories and books and these history things, some of these things are not. Sensible. But when you think and know of yourself, and then you know of your ancestors' history, following, the lines of things that may have happened or went on, these are the things we have to be more aware of, that we have to discern the truth from lies and fiction. Now, I do that, and I'm here to share with you guys to help you guys realize that or come to the realization of some of this information, but it's up to you to take it in, get it, figure it out, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just here to share with you what the information so that you can actually dig deep, dive deep, and have an understanding and come to conclusions yourself, correct? Now, eventually, however, this ecological and psychological harmony began to unravel and dissension developed. According to the Hopi legend, one handsome and beguiling creature named Kato Ya appeared in the form of a snake with a big head. Does sound familiar, right? Another named Moki, also known as La Boy Hoya, literally the talker. So La Boy Hoya was known as the talker, behaved um, vociferously like the mockingbird does today. Together, the pair plotted to make mischief. Because of these creatures' constant chatter, people began to gossip and fight. That sounds like some stuff that's going on now, right? We're currently experiencing a little bit of this. I want you guys to pay attention to these stories. We're going to go into open discussions about this later. There will possibly be a part 2 and 3 to this, but I want you to understand this information. I'm going to read this part over again. I want you to hear me clearly. Eventually, however, ecological and psychological harmony began to unravel and dissension developed. Once the harmony started, the disharmony and the psychological disharmony and things began to unravel within the people, the dissension developed. They started to descend, which means what? To fall. They started to fall. Pay attention. According to Hopi legend, one handsome and beguiling creature. Remember, we read this in the Bible about who? The person that came to Eve, and he was so beguiling, and she just didn't know what to do. She just was thrown by his features and so on and so forth, right? Named Cato appeared in the form of a snake with a big head, right? Another named Moki, also known as Lavahoya, literally the talker, behaved vociferously like the mockingbird does today. Continuous chatter. Together, the pair plotted to make mischief. Because of these creatures' constant chatter, people begin to gossip and fight. This is what's going on now. Distraction. This is what's going on now. Distractions from the ways of the Creator. Distraction from the ways of the Creator. They started to notice how they were different from the animals. They also began to see divisions in races, languages, and religions. In biblical terms, they had eaten from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Genesis 2:17. As a result, paradise was lost. Now, mind you, this is long before the Bible was even written. So this has nothing to do with religion. This has nothing to do with the Bible. This is 23,000 years ago we're talking about. This is the time. This is what they were going through at that time, okay? Keep that in mind. And as a result, paradise was lost to them. When you read that Bible, I've talked to you guys about that when it says that before the Adam and Eve time, right? And they talk about the fall of man, and then everything was wiped clean off of the earth. This is what that is talking about. You guys have to discern truth. We're not talking Bible, we're talking facts, and we're talking fiction. So please pay attention. The Hopi world terminated in two types of fire. There was a celestial fire in the form of ether, a number of comets in astrological strikes or coronal mass ejections. Coronal, listen to this. Comet, asteroid strikes, or coronal mass ejections. Corona is a coronal mass ejection from the sun. And the terrestrial in the form of extreme volcanism. Volcanism, the volcanoes, right? The creator, sometimes known as the sun god Tawa, told the sky god Satanag to eliminate the evil people and destroy the land on which they lived. These two celestial beings would play a role in the destruction of two subsequent otherworld ages as well. According to the classic volume Book of the Hopi by Arthur Frank Waters and Hopi informant Oswald White Fredericks, Satanag destroyed the world by fire because the Fire Clan had been its leaders. He rained fire upon it. He opened up the volcanoes, and fire came from the above and below and all around unto the earth and waters and air, and all was one element, fire, and there was nothing left. except the people inside the womb of the earth. This is very important, guys. We've talked about these things, and this is going to be very important. I will read this one last part again, okay? The two celestial beings would play a role in the destruction of two subsequent other world ages as well. So the prior world to this particular world, with the Hopi world being destroyed, their ancestors with two different worlds, 2,300 years prior to that, going back to 4,600 years prior to that, the world had been destroyed again. Every 2,300 years, it was destroyed by fire, and they were always destroyed by these same two gods. Are we paying attention? According to the classic volume book of the Hopi author Frank Waters, you guys can look this up to get more information, or you can dig it up yourself. The Hopi informant Oswald White Bear Fredericks, who is an indigenous warrior who had information from his ancestors, Satanog destroyed the world by fire because the Fire Clan had been its leaders. He rained fire upon it, opened up the volcanoes that's going on now. Do you guys remember there was a big fire in the ocean a few weeks back? They were saying it was, I don't even remember, it was something stupid, some real ignorant stuff that they wanted us to believe as usual. Tell us anything, we just like, okay. But yeah, the volcanoes and fire from above and below and all around until the earth and waters and air all was one element, fire. I keep telling you guys, we have to get ourselves to the blue flame, this energy that is pertaining inside of the pit of our bellies, inside of the base of our spines, inside of the pineal gland. The opening of this information will actually incline a person to ascend to a different height spiritually, going into the fire spirit. We'll discuss this at a later time. If you guys have been paying attention, I've been giving you guys a lot of information. And there is nothing left except the people inside the womb of the earth, inside the womb of the earth, right? If the Fire Clan or the Comet was indeed in charge of the first world, then perhaps this clan's sorcery was at least partly responsible for its destruction. The Comet would also be partially involved in the devastation of the second world. During the demise of both worlds, the righteous proto-Hopi would seek refuge in subterranean caverns. They would seek refuge in subterranean caverns. Okay, this is important. We will be doing a part 2 and possible 3, guys, because there's a lot of information I want you guys to discover for yourself, and I'm going to bring this to you so you can come to an inner conclusion of some things that I try to talk to you about and show you. So it's up to you guys, right? The survivors were protected by what they call the ant people. This will be discussed more in depth in part 3. We'll be discussing the ant people. They are insectoid beings. This is something that may be a discussion that sounds very pseudo, that sounds very out of whack, but there is scientific proof. There is proof from our ancestors. There is proof from the Egyptians of this, and much, much more. So I will definitely be doing a part 3 on this, so we can talk about the insectoid invaders that have had privy information to caverns and things that they helped the Hopi people survive during that time, you know. So these people who welcomed the chosen native people into their ant harvest, right? A kaiva is a subterranean communal prayer chamber that the Hopi used for religious rituals to this day. These people still exist. This isn't something that they faded away. They were spared during this time because they were saved by the ant people, the insectoid beings that actually brought them into their caverns, and they survived the Earth's rejuvenation process, the fire process, because they were in the womb of the Earth. I have personally seen protoglyphs, rock caverns in northern Arizona that depict this type of entity, specifically half ant, half human. These benevolent crypto creatures taught the people how to sprout beans in the darkness and to store food. This is how they learned how to go into the caves and store. You know how you see some of the stories of our ancestors that have went down into the tunnels and started to live. and people showed them this back in the day. They retrieved this information and brought it from the ancestors. So these skills are currently celebrated during the Pawama or Bean Dance ceremony in February on the Hopi Reservation. They are still celebrating this to this day. This is something that was information brought down from the ancestors and what they were told in their survival. Okay, let's go up here. Let's see. I want to go down. I'm not going to read the entire thing, but I want you guys to hear. It's a lot. Da, 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 da. Yes, this is what I want you guys to read right here. I'm going to start here, guys. It says, what caused the fire in the sky that resulted in such absolute destruction, right? Some scientists claim that a massive comet exploded over North America about 12,900 BP before present time, wiping out a number of animal species, including mammoths, mastodons, American camels. There were American camels and horses, ground sloths, saber-toothed tigers, short-faced bears, direwolves, and tapirs. Sadly enough, the destruction included many of whom archaeologists call the Clovis people. You can look this up. I've read on this, but we won't go into that. In whom the Hopi people call the ancient ancestors, or Hisatsiman. The super comet may have caused an airburst similar to, but much more devastating than the 1908 Tunguski event in Russia. Evidence of its denotation over the earth includes, listen to this, this is very pertinent and important, includes a layer of charcoal that contains levels of iridium 2 or 3 times higher than normal. It is significant that iridium is also found in meteorites. A large number of tiny magnetic spheres or microferrules were additionally found in a layer corresponding to 12,900 years ago. In fact, the layer contained 3,000 more microferrules than adjacent layers. These tiny, highly polished ball bearings pelting down upon the earth at over 3,000 miles per hour would have been lethal to any human, worse than a bullet, or human standing at the time, right? Also contained within these chronological horizons is a layer of dense organic material called black mat. This layer measured between a few inches and 1 foot thick. This was caused by huge glooms of algae. It indicates a massive die-off of both MAGA fungi and humans. Because no animal or human skeleton or even Clovis artifacts had ever been found above this black blanket, they were all under this blanket after the blast. One more anomaly discovered in the Clovis layer was a multitude of shock-sensitized hexagonal nano diamonds, which can only be caused by a comet blast. Okay? In this recent book, Forgotten Civilizations, you guys can read this. Geologist Robert M. Schultz writes that a solar plasma blast may have been the extinction level (ELE) for both the 12,900 before present time and the 11,700 before present time, or in terms of this essay, both of the end of the First World and the end of the Second World. This makes sense. Both of the ancestral Hopi have forced underground and were forced underground during these two world destructions, whereas the subterranean refuge was apparently not needed during the destruction of the Third World era. All right, during the flood. This is the time of the flood that they talk about. We're going to go past this. I'm going to get to something. All right, let's talk about the locations. However, at 3 of the locations, Kenneth also discovered a thin layer of rock called melt glass occurring about 12,090 BP. This verified rock is also termed trinitite because it is similar to the green melt glass found after the first nuclear detonation in 1945 at Trinity Site in New Mexico. Melt glass is formed at temperatures ranging from 3,100 degrees to 3,600 degrees. You're talking about hot. It is neither volcanic nor cosmic in origin, but is exclusively caused by impact of an incoming bolide. This melt glass because of the heat, just like sand melts and can turn to glass. Was found at three primary locations: the upper Euphrates Valley of Syria, as well as the American states of Pennsylvania and South Carolina. Okay. It's so funny that it was found in these particular areas, right? The more recent study, also published by the National Academy of Science, corroborates this story. Basically, the colleagues from Harvard University, they love to find out our information. They took samples from Greenland, the ice cores, and found an increase in platinum at about 12,900 BP levels, a 100-fold, a 100-fold pike in platinum concentration that also occurs in the ice that is around 12,000, so on and so forth. Right? Let's see. 1 second, guys. All right. Let's see. I have to check something. All right. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Making sure everything's going off good here and you guys can hear me. All right. Let's see. At the time, the moment that the rapid cooling of the climate is indicated from oxygen isotope measurements, this coincides with the start of the climate period called the Younger Dryas. You guys can look this up too. I may go into this into the second era. This was another period. The study suggests that the source of platinum was extraterrestrial rather than volcanic. So they say that it comes from volcanoes heat, but no, that it came from a cosmic heat when there were these asteroids and things that preceded the Earth and the comets during this particular time. Astrophysicist Paul L. Labiat, PhD, has developed an additional theory of worldwide conflagration. We're going to go into his theory. We can talk a little bit about the things that the Hopi went into. So I'm going to go down. Okay, according to the Hopi, the Second World War was destroyed by ice glaciers or extreme cold, specifically triggered by a pole shift, which is what we're going through now. Do you guys know that we're actually going through a pole shift? You can look this up right now. We are experiencing a pole shift at this time. This is something that happens consistently. The world it shifts like a clock. Let's look at the earth and not think that it's round and think of it as being a flat clock that's just laying down. And the time is going around. So we're shifting around. We're moving around. We're moving around, so on and so forth. But the gentleman asked me the other day about the 3 months of sun in certain areas, so on and so forth. We kind of talked about that. And when it comes to that, I kind of explained to him how that's because, we're actually shifting like a clock. We're going around. That's why when you're in a certain area, it's the sun is still there because it's shifting around it, but it's still in a circumference. So we have to pay attention to all these things. A lot of the things that are going on, they actually show us, a lot of things that we can see and learn from the in depth of ourselves and verify information when we're researching things and looking at certain things that have been posed by ancestors, by different people, so on and so forth, right? All right, so let's get back into this. The World Age had been a time when humans no longer were one with animals. As I said before, we were one with animals. We used to talk and converse with the animals, the trees, so on and so forth. Disney World, they actually make these cartoons and they're talking about a fairy tale land because this is how the land used to be. And this is an actual fact. And this is based off of throwing that in our face as well because we are not aware and privy to the powers that we have within and that our ancestors held and that come down within our genes, right? So let's see. Where was I at? All right. This world age had been a time when humans no longer were with one animal, were one with animals, as in the first world described above, both separate from them. The population had migrated to different parts of the earth along um, well-established trails. The people had built substantial villages. You guys know this because they talk about this all the time. The buildings all over the large structures and castles, so on and so forth, and had even developed complex trade networks. However, acquisition of material goods became an all-consuming passion. People had grown bellicose and distrustful of each other, wild and uncivilized, just like what's going on now. They even began to engage in cannibalism. Dissension and chaos ensued, which eventually ushered in the destruction of this world age. The Hopi term for this state of this equilibrium is Kayan Nikwatsi, meaning collective life out of balance. That's what's going on now. Or life of moral corruption and turmoil. That's what's going on now. We're experiencing a collective life that is out of balance. I consistently talk with you guys on like every build. That's why I talk so much about creating the balance so that you're able to get to the blue fire energy and the unveiling and things of that nature. But yeah, we won't get into that. Among the primordial mythical figures, the Hopi acknowledged a legendary pair of warrior twins. Now, this might get interesting more so here. The elder name Paganaya sat at the North Pole as the god of solid things, while the younger name Palagoya was positioned at the South Pole as the god of sound or an echo. This mischievous dyad was also considered to be culture heroes, sometimes performing Herculean tasks such as monster slaying. Not only were these two responsible for the creation of mountains and canyons, but they also monitored the vibratory centers of the earth, like the vortex points found, for example, in Sedona, Arizona. I talked about this, guys. I tell you guys about the spaces and how they are using ley lines and things for the entrapment of people and brainwashing and having them stuck with the religions and things of this nature, right? The warrior twins, jointly called the pagans, are sometimes associated with both the aggressive Hopi fire clan Koha, previously mentioned, the devil, Satan, as we think of in these days. Remember, this story is kind of repeat. If you look at it, it's doing the same thing, the same social things that were going on, the same thing that caused the destructions that happened, so on and so forth. And the Yaya Society, the latter group, gained its powers through sorcery from the animal kingdom. These powers include the ability to see in the dark. We've talked about this before. I told you guys if you're able to discern when you're in the dark, you can see better in the dark than in the light. And to view distant objects like some mammals, such as the antelopes do. The Yaya Society's protecting star was Sirius. Now the Sirius star has been out. I did a video the other day showing you guys the star. I've been seeing it. It was not present 2 nights ago, but it's been present like every night. In the constellation of Canis Major, which is the great dog, the Hopi name for this star is the Panatsana, which literally means sucks from the belly, i.e. a mammal. This society also practiced both firewalking and stick swallowing. We've seen this before. Extreme Yaya members would frequently kidnap and murder people in order to extend their own lives, sometimes killing even their own relatives. This is going on now. The second sacrifices. The second world's demise by ice may be, in fact, have been the result of witchcraft or human iniquity affecting the natural world. The things going on that we're not, we should not be privy to, and people are still doing, so on and so forth. Some rituals are, depending on the nature of them, are fine, but it all depends on what's going on. The warrior twins played a direct role in the Second World's termination. The sky god Saturn commanded the twins to leave their polar posts without warning. Frank Waters writes, the twins had hardly abandoned their stations when the world, with no one to control it, teetered off balance, spun around crazily, then rolled over twice. Mountains plunged into seas with a great splash. Seas and lakes sloshed over the land. And as the world spun through the cold and lifeless space, it froze into solid ice. Shortly after the calamity, Sadaknang had caused spiritual elders to see inner visions, which instructed the righteous Hopi people to follow cloud by day and a certain star by night. Does it sound familiar? In order to arrive at preordained place, as in the annihilation of the first world. It sounds like something you guys have read before, right? This guy, this sky god appeared to the group that had gathered. He led these select few to a large mound in the earth, into which they descended through the subterranean passages and caverns. They remained in these refuges until the frigid destruction occurred on the planet's surface had ceased. So they stayed underground and within the Earth's womb until the cold had ceased. After the twins Pagahani and Pagahawa had returned to their stations at the North and South poles, and the Earth's axis was again rotating properly, the troglodytes had at last ascended from the caves to emerge into the sunlight of the new third world. This is a legend, now the science. Now, the previously mentioned period called the Younger Dryas may correspond to the Hopi Second World. It lasted from approximately 12,900 BP to 11,700 BP, the end of the First World. See the discussion above, we talked about that. End of the Second World during the 12,000 span period, blah, 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 blah. So the climate worldwide has generally been warming, with the exception of those periodic stadials noted above, which was like the North Pole, Antarctica, all these different places that they talked about. We didn't read all that. The cold punctuation marks in the temporal sentence increasingly seeking predicate. The Laurentide, the Laurentide ice sheet, which had once extended from the Atlantic Ocean west to the Rocky Mountains and from the Arctic Circle south to the Missouri and Ohio rivers, began melting. After one of more major ice dams broke, huge volumes of fresh water consequently poured down the St. Lawrence River Valley and into the Atlantic from Lake Agassiz and Lake Ojibwa, two massive glacial lakes that covered much of Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. This mixing of freshwater and saline seawater caused Atlantic currents, specifically the North Atlantic Drift and the Gulf Stream, to stall. These circulating currents, known as, and I've seen this, if you guys have seen this, you can see where the water actually meets and it's actually, separated, which is phenomenal. Please look at that site. Usually bringing northward in warmer equators. I'm sorry, I skipped something. Known as these circulating currents, known as the thermohaline conveyor, the thermal heat, haline, and salt, usually bring northward and warmer equator waters of the ocean surface in higher latitudes. The current cool down and sink to the bottom. This halt is the warmer, saltier currents. Oh, all right, guys, I gotta take this call. Give me a minute. Let me put something on for you guys real quick. I am awesome, babe. I'm doing a live right now, sis. But I wanted to I'm talking about this Hopi tribe, the indigenous Hopi tribe. I don't know if I didn't get to talk to you about other stuff, but yeah, I wanted to just verify that we can chat Thanks for your patience, guys. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your patience, guys. I appreciate that. That's very important. I had to uh, get back to that. So let's get back to what we were doing here. All right, all right, all right, all right. So let's see was okay. Since about 20,000 BP, which we know, of course, means before present time, the climate worldwide has generally been warming, with the exception of those periodic stadials noted above. Cold punctuation marks in a temporal sentence increasingly seeking the predicate heat. The Laurentide ice sheet, which had once extended from the Atlantic Ocean west in the Rocky Mountains and from the Arctic Circle south to the Missouri and the Ohio rivers, began melting. Okay, we did read that. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Da, 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 da. Where were we at? Where were we at? Let's go right here. So the Laurentide ice sheet, which had once extended from the Atlantic Ocean west to the Rocky Mountains and from the Arctic Circle, Ohio rivers began melting after one of the more major ice dams broke. Huge volumes of fresh water constantly poured down the lake, the St. Lawrence River Valley, and into the Atlantic from the Lake Agassiz and Lake Ojibwa, two massive glacial lakes that covered much of the Manitoba, Ontario, and Quebec. This mixing of freshwater and saline seawater caused Atlantic currents, specifically the North Atlantic Drift and the Gulf Streams, to stall. These circulating currents, known as the thermohaline, conveyor the thermal heat, the haline, and salt. Remember, we just talked about that. I just repeated that. I apologize, guys, for getting this again because I forgot where I left off. Usually bringing northward in warm equator waters of the ocean surface in higher latitudes. The currents cool down and sink to the bottom. This halt in the warmer, saltier currents, or perhaps even a complete collapse of the thermohaline circulation, probably caused a global cold snap or stadial, punctuating the warmer interglacial period. This is basically the premise behind the 1999 book, The Coming Global Superstorm, of Art Bell and Whitney Stieber, and well, of the 2004 film, The Day After Tomorrow. You guys have seen this. Great day, brother. Peace and blessings to you. Somewhat surprising in the recent evidence of the onset of the Younger Dryas may have occurred in as little as a month, or at most a year. Conversely, in about 12,000 BP, during the middle of the Younger Dryas, Antarctica and the New Zealand were heating up, not cooling down. An article published in the journal Nature mentions this fact. Glaciers in New Zealand receded dramatically at this time, suggesting that much of the southern hemisphere was warming with Antarctica. Said study, lead author Mr. Michael Kaplan, a geochemist at Columbia University, a Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory. Oh, goodness, God. I'm so tongue twisted when you guys. These sinuses, boy, getting to me. This suggests perhaps even an ice-free Antarctica during this period, which is precisely, of course, we know that Antarctica was not frozen, like it is supposedly now. It's precisely what more component is precisely what more proponent of polar shift Charles H. Hapgood has stated after his study. I don't know who this person is, guys. Just I'm just reading this in what is called the Pyrius Map. I'm not familiar with that. We may look that up. The Pyrius Map, taken from original sources predating classical Greece, but perhaps also going back to the Ice Ages itself. The map shows that the continent, as it appeared without its ice mass, no later than 6,000 BP, before present time, drawn by an admiral in the Turkish Navy in 1513 AD. This cartographic curiosity also provides the correct relative longitudes for Africa and South America, a feat accomplished by Western science only in the 1700s. Hapgood describes the high civilization that produced the prototypes of this and similar proto-lands. The evidence presented by the ancient maps appears to suggest the existence of remote times before the rise of known civilizations of the true civilizations of a comparatively advanced sort, which either was localized in one area but had worldwide commerce, or was in a real sense a worldwide culture. This culture, at least in some respects, may well have been more advanced than the civilizations of Egypt, Babylonia, Greece, and Rome in astronomy, nautical science, map making, and possibly shipbuilding. It was perhaps more advanced than any state of culture before the 18th century and of the Christian era. So we know that the Christian era was also just a time period, so on and so forth. The possible existence of a highly developed civilization is evidenced by these maps. It corroborates the scenario of a technological, sophisticated culture that Hopi legends of the Third World evoked. See discussions below. We'll possibly read that in just a moment. Here we see an example of how scientific inquiry sometimes validates myths, which in our age, that is, the last part of the fourth world, are generally discounted as untrue, and the childish stories of early human history, in this case, our modern hubris, seems to know no bounds. Professor Hapgood, a Harvard graduate and historian, also developed a hypothesis endorsed by none other than Albert Einstein. So we don't know how much we're going to go into hypothesis, but we'll read this. That during the last 100,000 years, BP, I'm thinking, uh, three consecutive pole shifts had occurred. So that is true. So we can go with that. These were caused when the Earth's crust lithosphere moved over a softer layer beneath its asthenosphere, much like the loosened skin of an orange that slides over its inner fruit, the sliding, the shifting. He variously called this phenomenon the placement of the lithosphere, polar wandering, or earth crustal displacement. I call it shifting of the Earth. Let's see. I'm not going too far down. The last shift took place during the 5,000 year period between about 17,000 and 12,000 years ago, when the pole migrated around 30 degrees from the Hudson Bay to its present location. Now, you guys can look this up. Right now, we are currently experiencing a pole shift. I don't know if you guys have heard this in nature, but this is going on. We're experiencing a pole shift right now. They've been talking about it. They've been showing. I don't know if you can see it if you're looking at the displacement of the sun and the moon. If you're sky watching or sun gazing, you'll see that there's displacements of these solar entities. Okay. The first pole shift from the Yukon to the Greenland Sea occurred between about 80,000 and 75,000 BP, and the second shift from the Greenland Sea to the Hudson Bay happened from about 55,000 and 50,000 BP. All these pole shifts affected various ice ages and the warming or cooling of polar climates. They also provide the mechanisms that account for topographic changes in elevation, both of land and of sea. Hapgood even believed that the most recent pole shift might have been responsible in part for the extinction of megafauna in the late Pleistocene, about 11,700 BP, which is before present time. We might conclude that the Hopi Second World coincided with the mini ice age and the Younger Dryas triggered by a pole shift, along with the shifting axis of the Earth. Substantial seismic activity undoubtedly increased. The Hopi legend says the mountains plunged into oceans, with earthquake actively can certainly initiate. Now, when we think about that, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, there was this big fire in the water, in the earth, in the sea, and they were broadcasting. I can't remember what the story was behind it, but it looked to me like a volcano erupting up under the sea. So this would make sense when it comes to that. This is just something I think. I can't prove that, of course, but there's something in my mind. We might conclude that the Hopi Second World concluded with the mini ice age and the Younger Dryas triggered by the pole shift, along with the shifting axis of the Earth. Substantially seismic activity undoubtedly increased. The Hopi legend says that mountains plunged into the oceans with earthquake activity can certainly initiate. However, the supernova explosion has also been proposed for the global cataclysm of about 11,700 years ago that ended the Younger Dryas, sitting and work of the D.S. Allen and J.B. Duller, and including the researchers and astrological Miss Barbara Clow contends that the Earth's axis was pulled into a tilt by fragments of the supernova in the Stellar star system that blasted into our solar system in 95,000 BC. According to these authors, before the Earth axis was vertical, and we lived in a golden age, which we're going into now. Many scholars have noted that distinctly shift in the culture of 11,000, 5,500 years ago, um, when the Pleistocene epoch closed and the Holocene began. By working hypothesis in this event, precision of the equinox in 95,000 BC caused the cultural shift by fundamentally altering our experience in time. Suddenly, humanity adopted agriculture in response to the new seasonality, regardless of its virtual certain that a great cataclysm uh, changed everything on Earth 11,000 years ago. So, let's see. There's so much of this to read. The third world, time, death by water. Uh, I didn't want to make this too long because I know a lot of reading can make it boring, boring, and boring, and boring, and boring. But I wanted you guys to see. I may go into part two. We can talk about the third world. Then we're going to talk a little bit about the fourth world. Death by fire again, which is kind of what's going on now. We're into the fourth world. I think I'll do this for the part two. Let's take a quick break, guys, and then what I'm going to do is add me here. All right, guys, there we go. Y'all know I just told you I'm trying to put this new here. So let me see. Let's get a song for you guys real quick. I'm about to open this panel up, and I want to discuss some of this stuff with you guys. And yeah, we'll just go from there. I'm gonna play a quick. While I freshen up my tea, I made me some iced tea, and it's a little too. I gotta put me in there. Just a moment. Just a moment. Let's see. I think this is I like this. And this side. All right. Let's see. Here it is. Okay. I appreciate y'all working with me because y'all know I'm trying to get familiar with this new computer. It is just so much going on right now. I thought that it would be so much easier, but when I think about this retarded Wi-Fi, Frontier Communications is horrible. When I say horrible, okay, let's see. I can get this one now. Thank you. The voice came from y'all, I swear. I don't even know who the hell that is. You know, that was real crazy. Hold on a second, y'all. Let's try this again. Try this one more time. One video pulled up. It's that was. Appreciate y'all patience, guys. Wow. I'm glad, brother. Glad you were able to get a little insight about that because it's been real crazy. Yeah, I got to get a longer Ethernet cord that can reach in here so that you guys are able to get a direct connection because this is actually crazy. I might have to do that before tonight's show because this is. I think we on there now, guys. Oh, well. They just did too. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, that's enough of that. This string got acting real stupid with my whack internet. I tell you, this is just so annoying. All right, guys, I'm gonna drop the link. I don't know if anybody want to come up and chop it up with your girl, but y'all free and welcome to. I got a little bit of time that we can talk. So, anybody want to talk about anything that? Look at this thing still acting slow. Give me a minute, y'all. Talk about anything y'all want to chat about or ask about or Any remarks on, what I just went over? I would love it. Let's get to it. I'm ready. I see my boy AP live, so I guess I won't get too many people to come in this morning, but I got some of my faves in here. Peace and love, Big Philly. What's up, bro? I didn't see you in here. Peace and love, peace and love. So yeah, y'all, if y'all want to come up, feel free to come up. If not, I probably just end this now until I'm ready to do part two. I want to do part 2 and 3 before I get into all of my thoughts. I don't mind sharing a little bit, but if y'all want to talk about anything, feel free to jump up here. I'll give y'all a minute to get in the house. And yeah, we can talk about it because what's going on right now with this Hopi thing, right? It is so much of a what can I say? Verification of truth. I mean, it's been so much going on with sorry about that. Check this. Yeah, it's so much that we can have going on when it comes to talking about this. I can go all over. I don't want to talk too much about it though on specific things. If you guys have questions, because I'm gonna make sure I do part 2 put all information on this, because this is like some really good information. You guys are interested in this type of subject, but and let's see one more. What else? Maybe I could read a little bit of this. Sometimes. Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's talk about people. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I know my voice sound horrible. Oh, it's too much. Acting so slow right now. I see you back there, but sis,
Yes,
you there,
sis.
sis? Oh, why is it
I'm
looking like this? Hold on, I'm trying to fix the thing. 1 minute. Grand, there we go. There we go. I knew something wasn't right. Grand Rising, sis, what's going on with you, babe?
feeling uh, your sound was choppy, so I don't know if it's my thing or yours.
Is it you
Because
hearing the echo?
no, it sounded choppy. Yeah.
Oh, the whole time?
No, not the whole time. Oh, just now.
Oh, okay, okay. You sound just a little better. I had the other on because I was trying to make sure I could see, whatever. So, yeah, what do you think about that, sis? We didn't get to discuss this privately, but yeah, this information. I said, you know what? There's certain things I wanted to talk about. I have Chief Sun out. She's gonna be doing some information this evening, and so I was just thinking about things that's going on, and the hope when it comes to the Hopi, they're always they've talked about like this, the world, the different worlds ending, and the fire on the earth, and this and that and that, which is like we're in that time now. It's like everything they experience and we're going through it now, and they talk about the ant people that actually help them. I remember talking to Redwood a couple of weeks ago. He did a video. He was looking at these insectoids and such and such, and I'm like, yeah, bro. There's stories about that. So I kind of joined his live, but I don't hear people talk about these things because there's so many different entities and things. Period. Just because we're in the eco world. But yeah, just wanted to say that. Says, what do you think, babe? What do you think about it?
Well, it's interesting because I read about the Hopi people a while ago,
Okay.
But I never, got into, the research like you just did. Um, some of the names you mentioned, I forgot the names, but they sounded real. Uh, I don't know. It's like some of the words sounded
Hmm.
like the way the Native American, not American, the Native Indians in Suriname. Um, it sounds like their language.
Right. It
Mm-hmm.
was, sis, because they were natives. And
Yes.
just like the Suriname, you guys are also indigenous. People be like, oh, the Africa is not this and that. They be like, that is, it's like, I understand where they're coming from when they want to try to place the land and, them trying to displace us from this land. And I think that's where people want to dismiss like our ancestors' information. You know what I'm saying, sis? And I hate that. But it's like we got to blend this together. But when it came to, I'm not just cut you right off, damn. But when it
No,
comes to
no,
what you
no,
were
no.
saying,
Go
sis, what were you saying about that? As far as like the it being connected, because that was
ahead.
phenomenal to me too.
Let me see, because it was so much. Let me. There was something about, what was it? With was it the snake or I think it was the snake, but it was in another with,
Yes,
yeah,
it
with
was
another.
saying Kana. Did you want me to go back and I could pull it back up? Just take a second. You want me to go back and see
Yeah.
what it was?
Oh,
Okay.
I'll be right back. Give me a minute.
Okay.
Somebody's at the
Yep. Go
door. Give me
ahead.
a minute.
All right, take your time, baby. I'm finna find that real quick so we can definitely see what you're talking about. Because yeah, that's in reference to what's talked about in the Bible. This is where they get the Bible story from. I mean, I don't know if people be seeing the stuff that I be seeing, but yeah, it's exactly where they get that story from because it's talking about the same thing. All right, give me a moment. It's pulled up for sis, guys, so she can. I read that part. The part she's talking about, I actually read it twice because I wanted you guys to see, what was going on with that. Okay, find it. Where she's gone. Okay, right here. So yeah, guys, we have to gotta make sure that our minds are open to stuff that was happening way before. Remember, they hide a lot of information from us. A lot of scholars and archaeologists and things of that nature, they like to bring the information to the forefront, and then they'll kind of give a premise of their idea what they think, so on and so forth. But of course, we're going to know more because it's related to us. It's related to our ancestors. It's related to our indigenous status and being natural beings, and going through this solar system with the things that we are experiencing now. We have to understand that our ancestors went through a lot of these things, and like this, what I read to you guys, if you were listening, it's everything that we're going through right now. The earth being scavenged by these evil people. People are just going against each other. Everybody's about self, and nobody's doing anything by the spirit. Everybody's doing everything by the physical, and trying to get ahead and want to use other people. And I mean, all this stuff is going on. So this is what was going on back then, and this is what caused the destruction. The chaos we caused the destruction. It's not the earth. Now, always the what they call it, the green. We need to be green because we need to go global warming, and all the global warming, all this stuff is happening because of us. We're the creators and the cause of all of this, and we can actually stop it. By different things that we're doing in our lives to be a better person or whatever.
I'm sorry, since I'm
Oh,
back.
you back? All right, perfect.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right, sweetie, I found it. You want me to read that one little part again?
yes.
With the names. Okay, it says eventually, however, actually I can go down a little bit. Hold on. Hopi legend. One handsome and beguiling creature named Katoya appeared in the form of a snake with a big head. And it says, sound familiar? Another named Moki, also known as Lavahoya, literally the talker, behaved vociferously like the mockingbird does today. Together, the pair plotted to make mischief. Because of these creatures' constant chatter, people began to gossip and fight. Distracted from the ways of the Creator, they started to notice how they were different from the animals. So at that time, they were all coinciding together with nature. They even thought they were one with animals. But okay, go ahead, sis. Did you? Is that the part you were talking
Yes.
about?
What was it? Moki.
Moki.
Yeah, and the other name it's something
Lava Hoya. Labaihoya. Lave Hoya. Lave Hoya.
lab. Oh, damn it! Keep muting myself. Labe Hoya. Hmm.
And you know how they do with the pronunciation of the words. It could be
Yeah.
Lava Hoya. It could be Lava Hoya or Lave Hoya.
Laba.
But it's
Yeah. Hmm.
Lavaihoya.
Because I hear Oya in it.
Mm-hmm.
The water goddess.
Yes.
Oya. Yeah. Mama Oya. But also I don't know if there's any word in there. If they mentioned the word tamushi.
Amushi. Wait a minute. I think I did read that. Sis, hold on. Let me see. If not,
Wow.
I think I saw something similar to that. I want to make sure though before I say. Let me see. Let me look
Tamushi.
back. I do think
Because
I
that's their
remember.
name for the creator also.
Yeah, I think it did say that. It said the name for the creator. I don't remember where, but it
Mm.
said something about, let's see.
Tamushi.
Um, I surely just read that though. That's funny. Let's see.
I'm gonna send you some more because I got you know you explain it better because but I got many PDFs about the native different
About the you got PDFs about this the Hopi.
uh no different
Oh, other ones. Oh, okay, yeah, sis, do that
yeah.
because I love to go over. It. I have a couple of. I be trying to, and it's a focus. So maybe I'm gonna start doing this too, and then maybe you could do it too, because then we can do that coincide what's going on with what you're saying and what you're
Oh,
saying with the words and stuff because that's pretty good. Let me see. I'm trying to see. I thought I read that what you just said, but now I don't see it. I read a good little bit of this page though, but let's see. I see Cocob. I could have sworn. What was the name you said again, sis?
Tamushi.
Okay, Tamuchi. Let me
Yeah.
see. It may not have been in here. Maybe it's
Oh,
something I said I was gonna do for the second part, but I remember seeing that, sis. That's crazy. I thought I read that here though too. I'm just trying to double check. But yeah, I don't see it, but I believe so. Now, what were you saying about it? Let's just go on. I did read that because I believe I did. Literally.
yeah. No, I wanted to say like even though they're different tribes or um they all have this one creator. They may call him by different names, like Quetzalcoatl, or how do you say that? And the other one, what's the other one? Kukulkan.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
it's
mine's I hold on, brother. I know I
oh,
didn't see. I'm sorry, sis. I didn't see him in the back right there.
oh, okay.
Okay. Hey, Grand Day, Dee. Hi, baby. Okay,
Oh,
go ahead,
she's
sis.
back. Yeah. No, hi, mine's I. But yeah, um, they're
I'm
all
distracted too. You were saying the names. Yes, go ahead, sis. I'm sorry.
yeah, the names like okay, Quetzalcoatl or whatever, and then Kukulkan and then Tamushi, but they all go by they all describe it as the great snake from heaven or something like that, right?
Wow, the same thing you just said, right?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. So it's like but the other
It's
five,
confirmation.
yes, it's yep, yep. When I'm saying to them because you know me. um but when you read them it's like you get your confirmation just by reading it, and then you can how do you say it, fuse it together with what you're always talking about, the waveforms.
Yes, sis. Yes.
Yes, it's okay, man. Yeah,
Fire.
yeah.
Shout out and
What
greatness to you, sisters. What's up with y'all?
greatness, brother? What's going on? Look. I know your mind going. What's up, bro? What you think?
Oh
Yo,
What's your
man,
my.
mind's eye on? What you seeing?
oh man, a little bit. It's kind of making me think about last night. I was chilling over there with Copper Tone, man, and he had some things going on over there where it was talking about, say these how things come to be with the genetics and all of that.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of fresh where you said that where you was reading. And it's the closest to say where you just stopped reading. The point I'm talking about where the people.
You kind of cutting out, bro. You said the people what?
Oh,
Maybe his mic. He having a little issue. Wait a second. So Copper was live, and he was. I gotta go back and check that out. Yeah, I ain't been getting none of his things. They trying to block him for real, for real. I was
yep.
strolling last night, and someone was like, I said, let me see what Copper did earlier. Like I remember he was on earlier, and I had got off of his live because I left out the house. So I went to look, and I seen it was a live. It said it was live. So when I went to the live, it had ended like 40 something minutes. I was like,
Mm,
what the heck going on? This is like the third one he's had. So they literally are banning him.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
Can y'all hear me?
Now we can hear you, bro.
Yeah, it cut your voice off. I couldn't hear what you were saying for real.
Yeah, you cut
But
out, bro. So go ahead. What you were saying about? You said something about copper tone. That's the last thing we heard.
Yeah.
yeah, where he was what he was showing, it was tying to kind of what you reading. Can y'all hear me still?
Yep.
Yep, we can hear you.
Um, where you just read that last entry, right?
Hmm.
And you said the people did a lot of chattering, and I'm kind of thinking like, how we be speaking what we feel within, and,
Yep.
sometimes we be like we get long winded. We be like, nah, you would want to stop talking because you would feel like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like say the people you talking to, we know that you have your own brain. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And it'd be like, man, why I'm doing all this talking? And, you know what I'm saying? Um, that type of aura about us. You know what I'm saying? Where
Right.
we can choose to keep talking. You know what I mean? Because it does allow people's brain to connect. Or what is it? Connectivity?
Yes.
Like, because some people just, it'll take
Sparking.
them years. It'll take them years to put two and two together, you know? So I,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of felt that where, the same thing applies to the genetic or
Oh, cut
Mm.
out again.
Yeah. You cut out again, bro. You
listen to
said
what you
connected
was
to the
reading.
genetic.
Yeah, the genetic is it's the same thing as thought patterns. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And a lot of people, like it's a lot of us, and we all look different. You know what I'm saying? And it's the genetic makeup that say sort of it speaks to itself, like we talking right now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fire. So that's kind of what I'm gaining, and you know, seeing from what you was reading.
Mm.
I was gonna wait till part two, but since you said that, I want to bring this thing up about the. No, I am gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go somewhere else. But you're right, bro, and it's crazy.
That's
Let me
fire.
go to. I'm gonna go to that part again real quick about the evil, and it was saying how
Mm.
um oh, this
That's
part
good.
now. Yeah, this part right here where it's talking about the paradise part or whatever, right? It says during this humans and animals. Now remember we've talked about this before, bro. I be saying this, right? Humans and animals
All right.
could understand each other telepathically, and all species lived in a unified web of life, a self-regulating intricate matrix of interrelationships. In fact, it was rather like the ecosystems of the planet Pandora depicted in the movie Avatar. This literally saying everything literally like we be talking about. That shit crazy. We say how
Yeah,
the
I'm on it.
Avatar movie, it's crazy. It said most people possess the psychic, paranormal, or supernatural power, clairvoyance, clairaudience, telekinesis. bilocation, etc.
Mm.
Quite simply, almost every human being has shaman-like capabilities, which a lot of us have now, and we're developing now in this time.
Yep.
So what do you guys think about that? That part right there was like, whoa, this is like literally everything I be saying. I swear, I
Oh
tell you,
man,
everything I run up on to be more confirmation, more confirmation. I just can't help it. It's gonna just bring, it just gravitates to me. But yeah, what do
I'm
y'all think
telling
about
you.
that part? Dead.
Hey,
That was
that,
just
that you can go first, if you know.
Oh, yeah. Like I'm like
Eat.
I think I missed that part because maybe I stepped away. But man, look, like
ain't that something?
But
Yeah.
I always knew it. Like we had that,
Mm-hmm.
and we still do.
Mm-hmm.
We don't, some people just don't know. Like I hear clearer now, I see clearer now. You can call it clairvoyance, or but I don't know. It's just
Mm,
That's
you
that fire. That fire. You
hey
know how we say that fire, the unveiling, the sun gazing help with getting us to this state. They
yeah,
stop it by you know how I always be saying how when the mother's pregnant, right? This is why we don't need to be going to no doctors, taking no prenatal pills, this and that and all this other stuff. Going getting these ultrasounds because they're putting those infrared beams through the waters that create the life and help to develop the formation of the brain and everything. So if you're doing an ultrasound and they're sending those waves through there, that's disrupting the normal frequency that's in that water that's developing that uterus. There's something gonna happen, within that water. There's a disruption. Then when the
mm,
baby comes out and they're birthed into the world, they cut the umbilical cord automatically. So all of the stem cells of information and light energy, the photonic energy that comes from the placenta that actually pumps into the baby for the next 4 days after their birth, they never get it. So what happens is the barotheric gland, which is the gland that they were still privy to because they didn't have the oxidation and everything that we have and we've become to in this age, they had all of that. And now because we have it naturally within us and because of the things that are coming on and we're going into the golden age now, this is why they've been cutting off and limiting things and doing this and all this stuff, creating our assimilation to keep us trapped in. So the babies, when the baby come out, now they're not getting any of that light coke, they're not getting any of the information. They're cut off from any of the memories from the barotheric gland that would connect them to the sensitivities of this world, and that's what's going on right now, guys.
and they don't. Did you know they don't even mention the barotheric gland in the medical books? They
Yes,
don't
sis,
even mention it.
exactly. Says they don't want people to be aware of it. They don't
Mm,
want us to know. They don't want us to know. Because then people be like, wait a minute, why we don't know about this? Hold on, wait a minute. Now I'm cutting our shit off.
yeah.
That'd
oh
be a big
man,
problem, right?
that's
Hmm.
it. Cut the cutoff, to CUT. Remember seeing it, you seen it a lot where the rope tear, say you seen it a lot in film, say the rope tore, the cutoff, say that person
The
fell
frazzled
off the
ends.
mountain. It was
Mm-hmm.
it was slow motion. They watched them fall to their death. Like this is what they intentionally do. Where they know, because like if I pull your plug off your charger on your phone, it's gonna go off. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's the intentional cutoff. Like to see you T is to see you hang. You know what I mean?
Be right.
Phone off the hook. The umbilical cord has been off the hook. That's the little that little piece, the old school phone you would hold, got them two ends,
Mm-hmm.
that little baby. And that's the umbilical cord that's hanging from it. You know what I mean? So they love to disconnect you. You know what I'm saying? Say separate
Right.
little pods of energy everywhere and
That's
they can be
right.
utilized. What you say that everybody's a shaman, right?
That's right.
You ever met a shy man, a shy woman? Where look, say
Mm.
we be building it and say this would be a righteous sister like yourselves, a righteous brother like myself, where we'll do all of this talking and teaching, and we'll say, "Hold up, man, I'm being long winded. Let me shut my mouth. What y'all thinking?" And the people you talking to, they be like, "Nah, man, go ahead, keep on." Know what I mean? Um,
Yes.
where you got others, they treat this, like the dictatorship we know. And that person, he won't say I'm long winded. He'll just keep on going at the podium, whether he's speaking negative bullshit into people. You know what I'm saying? It'll be a whole bunch of them in the crowd like ourselves. Like, this motherfucker crazy up there for real.
Mm.
This motherfucker is not really talking for us like where we'll all be like him. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
So it's that type of balancing and energy we need to display or come out of our shells when we wake up to the power or whatnot. I
That's
think
right. And thinking about that power, right? All those powers, I always be saying we have in us. This is why they do those the superheroes and make all they get all this information from us basically.
okay,
I said I was gonna do this superhero thing. I have not done it yet. It just takes time to put all this together. So many different
it's
ones.
so much, yeah.
But when
Woo.
it comes to them, they're all most of the superheroes. If you guys know, they all have something to do with electromagnetism. A lot of it has to do with electromagnetism, fire, um, the elements, storm, the even when it comes to like the Hulk, getting angry, then he changes to this green, which is the transfer of which is the
That's
medium
right.
between good and evil. So it's all based off of these certain things, and it's just phenomenal to me that we need to understand and be able to try to tap into these things. So the things I talk about when it comes to our health and making sure we are tuning into ourselves and creating the right balance, this is going to help with these things. Being
Mm,
able
Yeah.
to tap into these different things, man. These people have psychic. Let's say this part again. I'm just gonna read this one part. Psychic powers we'll be able to connect to. I connect to a lot of these things, and it's just natural. It's nothing that I try to delve into, but just because
right.
of the awakening and the awareness, some of these things have happened. And the more you awaken your spiritual senses and close off to the physical, then the more these things will become prevalent to you. So there's the paranormal, all the different things. Like I told you, we went over this in a whole video I did on sun gazing, the
Mm,
unveiling, and how when you get the unveiling and that film is removed due to the sun actually disseminating that veil over your eyes, it actually it exposes you to brighter colors, different colors. You start to see other shades, different spheres, like different
talk
energy
about it.
cycles, all type of things. So this is something very phenomenal, guys. This is paranormal. And this is just something from the unveiling. Oh, were you
Oh,
saying something, Amma?
yeah. That's what I'm always talking about it, but maybe I say it in different words. I call it obia, this, because that's like it's working with the elements. Obia, it's not something
Yes.
that it's obia is it's not a spirit. It's what you do with your
Yes.
possibilities. So it's your practice,
Yes.
right? So I call it obia, or and the spirit guides. I call it spirit guides, but what you were just saying, it's everything I always talk about. The
Yes. And
superhero
see
thing.
how it
Yeah,
coincides? And yours is the Suriname
yeah.
understanding or understanding from what you've known from your ancestors, and it all still coincides. That's crazy.
Yes. It's like, I described one of the spirit guide as the tiger or the jaguar spirit, or even the Iron Man, the eagle,
Mm.
because it's one of your character traits. Is when you how do you if you feel like, or how do you say that, when you're enlightened, or
Mm-hmm.
I call it a trance, but um when you're aligned, yeah, let's call it aligned,
Okay.
you
Yes.
become the eagle, you become the jaguar, you become the panther, you become the tiger, and you have that strength, you become the hero, the superhero with all the
Talk about it.
yes.
Y'all on
Yes.
fire.
And that's exactly what it was saying. It's just it
Yep.
just the confirmations was like, whoa.
You will have so much access to the other organic beings. It's kind of just like they was showing in Avatar. They was like hooking up at the hair or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The hair kind of weaved together when he got on the back of whatever that flying thing was, type of
Yes.
dragon or something. And
Because it
every other
said
animal.
It said that the humans and animals could understand each
Understand
other
each other.
telepathically, and
Mm,
all species live in a unified web of life. That's very pertinent. A
mm.
unified web of life. You know how we always talking about that web and how, like I said, they have the inner web within us, right? So that they
Right.
can block out our unified web, the life web. This is confirming that as well. It's crazy that we have that unified web of life that is a natural organic web, and then there's the simulated web that they are altering so that we're not able to tap into the
Hmm.
unified web of life
They got
that is self-regulated.
a simulated world wide web that's a net that really catches you like a fly. It don't,
Exactly.
it don't
The
do
spider
you
web.
like a right. It don't do you like a slingshot in a rock or propel you. You know what I mean? It wrap you up like the mummy. This
And
motherfucker sick.
it says a self-regulating. This is important too. It stands out to me. It says it was the unified web of life was a self-regulating, intricate matrix of interrelationships. So everything, now mind you, this is everything we talk about now. And I always say this: we are all the same energy. It's all the same
Right.
thing. Huey
Mm-hmm.
always say this. It's crazy how you be like you me, you talking to yourself, the little stuff you joke about. But it's
That's
serious. It's
right.
so serious in nature because it is exactly that. We are all of the same energy, but what happens is because we're in this matrix, we're caught in the web, so we're finding ourselves in different places and seeing it as an individual. And this is the trick of having you, I guess, to tap into those powers of being connected to the greater energy, so that now we can all rule and control it together because everything in this cycle is ran on us. This
Mm.
confirmed that as well. As I said, if we were meditating and doing certain things at the same time on the cord together, there would be a lot of things going on in this world that would be changing. People don't believe that. I just keep saying it, but anyway, that's just a whole nother era. So when it comes to that, it said most of the people possess, like I said, the paranormal, the supernatural powers. We talk about this. That's that superhero stuff. The ability, just like how like when something happens and say there's an emergency, a, a car or something. You've seen people lift a car off of a baby, or this happens because people literally tap into these energies and they don't know it. They get so upset, they get scared, the adrenaline gets pumping. Once that adrenaline gets going, that power is initiated because now that flame energy, which is that blue flame energy that's in the spine, it actually starts to heat up and it gives that energy. It gives the atomic structure for a person to build up certain molecules at that time because of the chemicals of the adrenaline. And then now they have that superpower strength. They can move a car. They can lift a cement block off somebody. This really happens. I know you guys. Have you guys ever heard of that?
Talk
Or
about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. A
yeah.
woman to lift a car off her baby, a little a sister will, lift something off her little brother, to save him. Yes.
And have you ever seen, if you see someone like he's ready to fight, especially a man, if you see him picking up some dirt and rub his hands, you better
mm,
run, sis. You better run
That's
because
like powder.
yeah, that's why those weightlifters they rub their hands with white powder because they're trying to
Yeah, that
mimic it
box out.
because the dirt gives them like they turn into superhero that from
And it
just from the
and it
soul.
give you grip on that ass. You know how
Yeah,
people be
I, I
you,
know what you mean, but I'm saying like, okay, I'm from Suriname, right? There's many
right?
times when I've seen like even in school, like certain boys, their mama had to bring them to a medicine man because their hands are too heavy. And if I say heavy, they become like the Hulk when they get angry. So
yes,
if
sis.
he hits you
Rocks.
just with one hand, you're dead. So you
That's right.
so that's why I'm saying like it's like Sister Soul said, like we don't know the powers we possess, but once we figure it out, and people learn about it, or they even willing to hear about it, they can figure
Yes,
it out because you have to be able to control those powers. It's just like laying hands on someone to heal them. You have to be able to control your energy because if I want to heal you, I can't release all my or
I
negative
can't
ions.
kill you. Trying to heal you.
Yes.
Hey,
So
hey, that's so fire because it's like the very thing that allows your love to grow immensely larger. It is just that. It's where you find things to live for. You said interrelationships, and all I heard was enter the matrix.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And where they talked about the matrix, the girl Trinity was in love with the dude Neo. It was like the love that they had for each other allowed Neo to be the one. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it is the entrance of a relationship that builds, say, your character.
Yes, when it and with that, let's talk about the rest of these things. So we talked about the supernatural powers, right? Let's talk about the clairvoyance real quick. Another one of my favorites.
The clear
Um,
voices.
yeah. So sis,
uh-oh.
what? She said, "Uh oh, don't say uh oh, lady." What do you think about having the clairvoyance? You're clairvoyant, so don't say uh oh. Tell me what you think about clairvoyance.
Because um I think, yeah, I've always had it, but
Mm-hmm.
I was never aware of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I think the ancestors just try to protect me in a way, because it used to freak me out when I noticed, when I got discovered that,
Yeah,
oh
they
shit,
could drive you crazy.
Yes.
man. So now they just come in my dreams and show me everything in my dream. Because if they come when I'm awake, I'm a freak out. They know that. So yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
it's
Very prevalent.
yeah. But
And
everybody has, yeah. What
what
you were saying?
about you, Mind's Eye? Do you tap into your clairvoyancy, and what can you say about it, or as far as like
Uh,
being able to notice it, or when you were like, oh wow, I didn't know I had this little ability here, or what do you
right.
feel about that?
Oh man, I could probably say, where I got to paying attention to it, and really hearing, say, common sense. It kind of ties to, say, your clear voice that I'm hearing right now,
Hmm.
or say a room full of racket. You know what I'm saying? Um,
Yes.
I'd have to get out of there. You know what I'm saying? And the same with myself. If I had a whole bunch of thoughts at one time in my mind, I'd have to kind of calm down. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like where I listen to them, I give them all they time to speak to me nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Because I got it where everybody's calm within me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And they teach me a lot, just like yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like I think the clear voices that come to me is very, you know, say healing and helpful. It's not a put up or shut up. I love to conversate with
Mm.
the one I question within my clairvoyance. So yeah, I appreciate it.
And people need to also be able to recognize when they're having a vision, because sometimes
Yes.
Hmm.
it can come in a daydream, or it can come in your sleep, or just like it,
Wow.
yeah, like how do you say that? And uh,
Deja vu.
oh yeah, or image in your head, like like a little movie clip, or
A
They'll
little
say it's like
commercial, huh?
they'll call it a mirage. They'll say they had a mirage, or
a
a
mirage.
mirage appeared, something they saw, like a little vision of something,
Or
and
episode.
yeah,
Yeah.
episode. Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
you
Look,
need to,
before you just said that in episode came, I was thinking like that is that the little commercials? Them
yeah,
commercials are ooh.
yeah, that's why they're really short, right? A commercial is never
Mm-hmm.
long.
Yes.
So it's to distract you, because maybe in that moment you had a vision or a mirage, and then the commercial comes like,
Boom.
Right. It's gone. Exactly.
yep,
You be trying to get what the commercial was talking about.
yeah.
Let me go to the store and get that.
Hmm.
Wow,
Right.
that's something.
Yeah, that man. And they don't know those things put people in so many others. I don't even want to get to that, but yeah, with the commercials, that's something else
Talk
too.
about illusion. Ain't that what?
Yeah.
It's like you will see your people's look. You done seen the commercial. Now you on your way to get it. They be like, "Where you going?" And you be going to get something that ain't even, say it's tangible, but you on a mission to get something that somebody just cross a commercial cross. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Say it be people. They want to go get something from a fast food place, or they just saw a dish on TV, or they want to get a video game, all the stuff, renting movies, all the shit that be having people to and fro. We throw it in the trash later on. We going to get nothing.
Yep.
Think we going somewhere and think we doing something. You come back and literally throw what was tangible in the trash, and you don't know how to manifest it again.
Mm. Oh, and sis, there
So
was
you
a,
just to and fro.
oh, there was something with the audio too. You mentioned, sis.
Yes, I was about to bring that up too. Yes, babe.
Okay.
So when we
Okay.
think about clairvoyance, right, and the being able to perceive or intercede or inner visualize, the clairaudience is the next thing. So
Okay.
when we think about clairaudience, it's similar to that, but it's more open to other things. We think about clairaudience and listening, hearing. It's the faculty of what we're perceiving. So it can go with clairvoyancy too, right? Just because it's for perception. So it's the perception of what you hear. So you know how I always talk about waveform. Y'all know it. Y'all know it. So when it comes to the waveform, the clairaudience is easily manipulated. You know how I talk about the tones and the sound and the frequencies that hit the skin, that actually hit the pores of the skin. And then when you feel those vibrations, it actually sends certain information or coding, to the body based off of what you're hearing. So that's part of those senses. As I said, all of the waveforming, the senses are all affected by that. So when it comes to that, the faculties of perceiving what we're hearing, the perception of things, even being on the erratic or the imbalancing of the 440 frequency that they have us on, when we know that the natural frequency of vibration and the correct balance is the 432 gigahertz. So, being that that is the Earth's natural frequency, right, and being that that is the Earth's natural tone that we are all a kind to, and that is thrown off in so many ways, just like the Earth its frequency is thrown off by so many different things, the HARP and electromagnetism, ionosphere issues, so on and so forth, all these things going against the earth. Then we have to think about the most pertinent, or one of the most pertinent things that are going against the earth. I'm going to speak on, and it's the people. The ones that are not doing the things, everything that we were talking about that these people experienced back then, the same thing that they experienced was going on. They started doing all kind of stuff. They were doing evil stuff. They was practicing cannibalism. They was doing everything they had no business doing. So that's what happened to the ending of the earth, because why? All of the negative energy, the ions from their actual physical beings that was protruding into the solar's ionosphere and the electromagnetic magnitude of what our earth energy balance should be. So all of the people, when people are doing all these negative nasty things, it's creating unbalance on the earth. The earth isn't pleased with that. The earth starts to be disruptive. It's like it get a bellyache, you get a stomach ache, you get a heartache, it's getting lung issues.
Talk about it.
You feel me? People don't think of this stuff, but it's so important, and that's why I say it's important for us to pay attention to what we're doing, because we can actually make changes and revolve in the more positive aspect. Even though the earth is still shifting and going to do its natural thing, it can be at a more balanced um,
Mm-hmm.
way that we can be able to blend. Because back then, if you guys remember, I read also that it said all of everything on the elements of the earth blended. So everything was fire. It was nothing else but fire. And we talk about this. I've talked about this over the last few weeks more recently, as far as that blue flame, people having to be at the blue flame energy to be able to be one with the source, because it is a blue flame. This is why they always show them the red flame, the red fire, the red. Yeah, they want you to stick with the red, but it's actually the blue flame energy that we have to be connected to in order to be able to mesh and blend with all of the elemental elements of the earth that coincide and that we coincide with, basically, right?
Like that blue
So
water.
exactly. So when it comes to that, thinking about that, like I said, the clairaudience, that's what we're talking about. I'm still talking about the same thing, but I want to make sure y'all follow me. So the clairaudience is affected by all these things. So it's as if we're hearing things that are inaudible as well. You know how they talk about, like in movies and songs, it's like, oh, it's different. I can't think of the word, but one
Yeah.
of you know what is it, Minds? You know what I'm talking about? They'll say like it's subliminal. That's it. The
Mm,
subliminal. That's it. The
okay.
subliminal. If you're more clairaudient, right?
Mm,
You would be more susceptible to
gonna give it up.
subliminal. What'd you say?
I said you gonna give it up.
No. I'm
Once
saying
you,
when if you're more clairaudient, right? It would make you more susceptible to picking up or being able to pull that to you more, standing out, so that you can notice it. It's not going to be a subliminal message because you're going to notice. Oh, hold on, this ain't right. You're going to hear and pick up on those clairaudient things. But y'all go ahead from there. I want this. I want to get y'all input, obviously.
Yeah.
okay, then.
Oh, no, I just want to say, I think mind's eye, you have that. How do you say it? Clear audio? Clear
Clear,
audio?
it's called clairaudience, and if a person has that ability, they would be a clairaudient person.
Clear audio. Yes, because it's like what you hear, you're able to hear through the bullshit. So every word, every spell, every word somebody says, you hear the real, not what they're saying, but you hear the real. That's how I see it. And it can
Okay.
also be like you hear voices. I am watching.
Right. That third
Something
ear.
like that.
Look, third
Yeah.
ear.
Say when you get the say, because where it comes to you, say where the information crosses the line, say that line is into your senses.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like once you get, whether it's verbal, sentencing or whatever, you gonna comprehend it. You know what I'm saying? If you have this, down pack, you're gonna comprehend it. It's like, say, the clear audio. It's kind of like where you would perform or do what you do, and everybody is stand up clapping. You can see that they appreciate it, or it went, you know, say respectable, how you like the show to go, or whatever you was presenting to your audience. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You will visually get to see it where they comprehend, you know, where it goes into them, whatever that you putting out, like an antenna with signaling.
Yes, and also, um, not everybody, or no, let me say it different. Sometimes you get like your ears are ringing, but it's like a sound of, I don't know. It's like I call it my ears are ringing because I never
It
heard
never stops.
Hmm? Uh, yeah, I say like when my ears are ringing, somebody's talking about me. I don't know if you experience that sometimes. It's like a ringing in your ear.
I hear it right now.
It's a buzzing. Sometimes people say it's a buzzing in the ear.
Yes, yeah, but you
Sometimes
don't
it,
hear it. Yeah, you don't hear it
Yeah.
all every day. Every once in a while, you get that. I get that. Like, oh shit, they're talking about me. Like, oh, I'm important. So
hey,
that's
that,
what they say in Suriname. Like, somebody's talking about you if your ears are buzzing, or yeah.
yeah, that's something, because I remember when, say the times where I wasn't who I am now, it annoyed me. Like that very sound, the silence would be so loud for me, when
That
it'll
happens.
piss
That
me.
happens sometime with two different health conditions. I'm so sorry, I can't think right now. I'll clip my tongue, but there are two different things that happens with the imbalance where you can have that ringing as well. And sometimes it's something with the ear and the water in the ear. And there's another thing I just cannot recall right now. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm mad. But anyway, there's two different things. I'll look it up in a minute, actually, just so I can verify that. But that can
Yeah, that
cause it. Just to put that out there, so people, if you ever have that, like a ringing or that buzzing in your ear, won't go away or something, make sure you check with somebody. Or I have a pain oil for that. Not trying to pump my my oil, but I do have a pain oil for that because sometimes it is a health condition. Unfortunately, it's a imbalance with two different things that can be caused by that. But yeah.
And it is caused also by headphones or the things that go in your ear. How do you the earbuds?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tendonitis, I believe, is the other thing, if
Mm.
I'm not mistaken.
hmm, could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I know the say the form of it I'm talking about is just literally. It's like just me being alive. I it's not a ringing in my ear. You know what I mean? Like where I was saying it, and I'm not saying that you talking about me. Uh, it's like the it's just a steady streamline of like say life. You know what I mean? Anything that I hear can go on this silent. It's like a line. You know what I mean? And I can just hear it going. You know, through my being. And when I didn't know who, how to control my body and my head, like I know how to now, it really annoyed me. You know what I'm saying?
A
Because
lot
I
of
hear
that,
it.
a lot of that, brother, has to do with the balance. Period. With the person's self, with
Mm-hmm.
being taking yourself to a self-regulating place, right? Being
Right.
able to intricately remove yourself slowly from the simulation or the matrix or whatever, so on and so forth. And then that way you can kind of more so balance yourself from the inside out, taking
Yeah,
control
that's
of
what
those
it
things,
is.
you know what I'm saying? And doing those type of things to.
Facts.
So what do
That's what
y'all
it
think
is.
about the telekinesis? Telekinesis is, when a person have the ability to move objects and things at a certain distance,
Mm.
a certain mental
Don't even get me
power,
started.
or with a certain mental power, or others like non-physical means, they possess some, they may say a spirit, they were possessed by a spirit that enabled them to do this because of that energy. They can do it
Oh,
with other non-physical means. What do y'all think about those things? You first.
oh. Um, telekinesis. I don't think I have that ability, although maybe it's in me, or because I
Okay.
think everybody has that. You just have to figure out how to use it or to
Hmm.
enable it. Telekinesis. It's like, is it the same as? Oh no, I think you call it.
Bending the spoon, bending a quarter, moving
Oh,
paper from one place to another, those type of things.
no,
Elemental.
I was thinking about picking up thoughts. Um, what do you? How do you? Oh, that's telepathy, right? Oh,
Yes.
that's
Okay.
okay. Maybe you'll discuss that next, but I lean more
Yeah,
to
we could talk. Yep.
yeah, than telekinesis. Um, but that's interesting. I've never actually tried it, but
Okay.
yeah.
What about you, brother? Mind's eye. What about you? Anything? Are you familiar with it? You ever had experience? You ever
I'm
tried it?
familiar.
Tell me about what you feel about it.
Say telepathy is you tell it. You know what I'm saying? You remember the scene in the Matrix movie, right, where the little boy was like, he was like, it's the spoon. He was like,
Mm.
it's the spoon that bends. Where Neo was holding the spoon and like, the spoon, it got that little oval shape, then it got the stick, the little stem,
Mm.
and where he looking at the spoon, it's shaped like a human, and his reflection was right in the little, the little cusp of the spoon.
Mm.
So where he moved his head, the spoon, it bent because it was him. It was just a reflection. But it's like on another level where we ain't even gotta say, we ain't gotta say, damn, the spoon and floated over to me like I was literally a magnet. You know, I don't deny that part, but I haven't seen it. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen it being done like like we breathe. But it's like, you know, where you would tell somebody at the dinner table, could you pass me a fork? You know what I'm saying? Or could you pass me the orange juice or whatever? And it's gonna float across the table. You know what I mean?
Mm.
People will bend to your will like the slave master whipped the skin off the back of slaves so you can see their spines. You know what I'm saying? This
So
telepathic thing.
right, and if you know that, so since you were saying you were more into the telepathy, as he just said, right? So when we think about telekinesis, these things kind of coincide. Telekinesis, telepathy,
Mm,
psychokinesis. Before we get into that, a little bit more with the psychokinesis, is what we want to say
mm.
about the telepathic abilities.
Well, I was thinking, still on the thinking about the telekinesis because, um, you know how you remember I told you about the calabash and the water,
Yes,
that little wooden bowl, and I put water in it, and I communicate with
yes,
the water, and the water
yes,
talks by falling out the bowl.
yes,
So I think that maybe is that a form of
yes,
tele.
yes.
Wow,
Mm.
damn.
Yes, it is, dear. So you are actually practicing it. You may not have had the name for it per
Mhm.
se,
Yeah.
but by performing that particularly, that's definitely a act of the telekinesis. What about you, brother, with the telekinesis? Any of your
I I heard who that dude Charlie Manson
hmm,
say the other dude that made all of them drink the poison, like where you said it's psychokinesis. Damn, that's the movie Psycho. Think about, say they push that vibe. Now it's a lot of people talking about they goth people. Like, say they didn't tell it. You know how to television do. Like
mm-hmm.
people
Tell a
would think
lie to
they,
you?
yeah, yeah. People would think they into that shit, but let that shit become your reality. Where it's a fantasy right now, but let Chucky get the cutting up your butt cheeks. Let that little motherfucker get a knife and get the slicing at your goddamn lower half. You gonna see this shit ain't no joke. You know, where you dive into the little riff raff. What's that? Say if the commercials is just 10 seconds, other things that you watch, whether it be an hour or however the fuck long, if you don't know what you're dealing with, you are being telepathically. Uh, it's telekinesis. It's mind control, manipulation. You know, they got the outfit for you to go get. Like, it wasn't no them fucking stupid ass, tall ass Frankenstein boots them goth people be wearing. Like, that shit wasn't put there on accident. They knew you was gonna want it once they showed you the fuckery that dwells in the darkness in this realm. You know, now motherfuckers walking around looking like that little girl. Remember the dull faced girl on the Adams family, a dumb family, a
Hmm.
dim family, a dark family, a
Yes,
dark.
definitely.
Mm, that's what I just got. You know, from the where you said, what'd you say, psychonesis?
Telekinesis
Yeah.
is what Sis was talking about with she, that's her experience with it.
Mm, yeah, motherfucker tell
So
you to do it, you gonna jump.
Mm-hmm.
that the ability to move things with your mind. So all of these things fall under what we would consider psychokinesis, another ability that we would be more privy to if we had access to the periphery gland, right, or the unveiling of the third eye, or the blue flame energy that actually ignites all of this, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. So psychokinesis is,
Mm,
when we think about psycho, crazy, no.
mm.
That's what you think, right? You think it's something crazy because this is what we have in our minds. But psycho is actually, let's say, it's like,
Simply cycling, like
yeah,
you
but
pedaling a bike.
I'm trying. Hold on, bro. I'm trying to put it in certain words. It's basically the psycho part is like the psychic ability that allows a person to influence a physical system. So you like when we think about the bending of the spoon or sis moving the water. So that's her, make her using her psychic ability. She says she to get her answer. She's speaking to the obelisk, right, sis? What did you say it was, sis? The bowl,
Calabash.
the calabash. She's speaking
Calabash.
to the calabash with water, right? So when she's speaking to it, she's influencing the physical thing with her mind without a physical interaction. So even though she's holding it in her hand and it's not like she's tipping the bowl. This is how she knows it's something that's, giving her the answer because something else is influencing it, not herself. She's just holding the object. So as she's holding the object, and like she said, it'll tilt to give her the answer she needs. So that's using her psychic ability to influence the physical thing without actually using the physical interaction of her hand to make it happen. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
bro? So,
I,
That's right.
I think it's more the energy because energy is all around us and we are energy. So it's
right, that's what I'm trying to say about.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah.
let
that's
me
right.
finish this real quick. Then y'all could. I'll let what y'all saying. I just want to give y'all the premise of psychokinesis itself, and then we can go into how I want to know how y'all feel about it or what y'all thoughts are on it. So with it, it's something that it's influenced by spirit. So the term is a compound word. The meaning behind psycho, right, is mind, soul, spirit, or breath, right? And it's meaning motion or movement. So this is the actual term. And this has to do with something that would be the extra sensory system, which is something that I always talk about they cut us off of because the extra sensory system is what allows us to tap more into the spiritual era of it. This is why it's the psyche or the psycho part of it. This is why people are affected and have psychic episodes or mental illnesses where they can't deal with themselves in the air because it's something with the mind or the spirit that's being affected. So they can't tap into that and take control of it. And a lot of times they get these medicines and things, and then they start to manipulate these people with these particular types of things. So the word telekinesis is a compound word from that because it's derivative of like the same things, using the
Right.
psychic with the movement. So when we think about it in that way, in the telekinesis being a little different, but really the same thing because it's all mental influence of a physical system, right? And
Okay.
objects without using any type of physical energy. You're using the spiritual and the mental energy, the psyche, to actually move a physical element, which was coincides with what I always talk about, right? The simulation in the real world. That point where you get to where you got to stop and go back around because you can't really see over there. You're coming back that green where they're able to manipulate us with the waveform. That green that's a balance of that midway point. So with that,
Mm.
um, people use certain things to what do you call it? Elevate. You know how they'll be like make something lift up off the table or something. This is also the psychokinesis ability. And when it comes to that, so it's a mental force that's applied. That force is applied, which is, how I be saying, how words are important. This is all a lot of the same thing. When we're using our words and we're saying things and we're putting it out. Once we put it out, we spell it out, we write it down. This is how we start to materialize things or manifest things into our world, right? Because the actual thought in our mind and our mental, once we are forming this in our mind and then we start to project it out our mouth, that's the second. The molecules that are spitting that energy from our insides that actually put it out. That's a force of energy that's going into the atmosphere, into the ionosphere that we're connected to. So it gives a connection to that to actually make that physical component happen. And this is a physical intervention of manifestation from the mind and
Mm.
thought and making things come into reality. Now go ahead, sis. I wanted to make sure I got that. I didn't want to forget what you were saying on that.
No, I wanted to say the psychomatic. What's that the word? Psychomatic.
Psycho. You said psychomatic.
I don't know what the
Oh no, psychokinesis, sis. I'm sorry.
psychokinesis. Oh, okay. Because I was thinking psychomatic because okay, if I think it's the same because it's manipulating matter with the mind,
Yes.
right? So, um, let me see. Oh, and what was the other word? Telepathy. Is when you're on the same freak. You're vibing with your mindset on the same wavelength as the other person. Just like like for me, if I if I think or if I know someone, um, I can tune in. So I can literally pick up your energy. I can know what you're not even thinking, but I know what you're feeling. It's like how you're sitting there, you stare at the phone, and you think of someone, and then they call you.
Yes.
You're like, oh, I was just thinking about you, right?
Yes.
So that's a form of telepathy because you pick up each other's thoughts. So and then you're like, okay, let me call this person, or just let,
Yep.
yeah,
And they'll be like, "Oh, I was just about to call you," or they'll say, "Man, I was calling you, and you calling me."
yeah.
Facts. Atmos.
And who was that? Someone wrote, oh, Solomon wrote, and their smell too, because you can pick up smells. I usually have that when people, how do you say that? People die in the family, and then once in a while, you still smell their perfume passing you by, or
Hmm.
yeah, you
The
can pick up,
essence.
yeah.
Yes, that essence, the effervescence, or their spirit might be around, and then you smell it like, "Damn, I'm
Wow,
smelling
I ain't heard that word in a while. You said effervescence?
the effervescence." Yes.
Whew. That's right. That's right. Hey, the words is like swords. I can't remember that movie, but it was a big old throne, a seat. It was made out of all kinds of swords, all sizes. Like that's the words, the swords. The daggers, ninja stars, all types of ways you can throw it if y'all can't talk about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
Be grabbing all kind of shit off the wall to get your ass right.
the next, right, right. The next thing we're going to talk about, guys, is bilocation. But before that, I want to talk real quickly about what we were talking about, that ringing in the ears. And it was tinnitus. I thought it was, but I wasn't sure because I kept thinking it was something else. Carpal tunnel. I was confusing the two. So I was thinking carpal tunnel, but I thought it was tinnitus. But it is definitely tinnitus. I just looked it up, and I want to review this real quick, guys.
Yeah,
But
that's right.
there,
Tonight is yeah.
because there's a couple of other things that also that can happen to have that happening. So the rheumatoid arthritis is one. It's a condition that affects the entire body, resulting in complications such as heart complications like heart disease, osteoporosis, gum disease, kidney problems, hearing loss. With the autoimmune diseases such as rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune ear disease may develop worsening hearing loss. Now, I just told you guys, I literally have an oil for that. So I'm not even joking. I literally, my whole business, aka Randall's Natural Nature, was developed off of my daughter having ear issues, and I started went to sleep, and the spirit told me one night what to do, and I made the oil and it worked. So literally, this is how I got into natural care. Other things associated like dizziness, ringing in the ears, and things of that nature. So that can also cause ringing in the ears. So if it's something that you're experiencing a lot of, make sure that you're checking that to just be sure you're not having some other things going on. Another thing would be hearing loss. So many different forms of hearing loss, some causes of hearing loss affected only from some frequency in the uh, tinnitus. So reduced activity in the nerves that connect the damaged part of the inner ear to the brain, resulting in increased nerve activity. It is the body's way of compensating for the damaged nerve, and it causes them to be hyperactive. Literally, this is crazy. We talking about this, and y'all might think I'm pumping my oil, but literally, my oil does that. It rejuvenates cells, and it takes the inflammation, swelling out while rejuvenating, and this is why it actually heals that. That's crazy. So if you are having that issue, or you know somebody that's having it, and they use all kind of medicines, and things aren't working, they have to consistently use a different medicine. And so if you get the oil, I promise you, if you use it like 2 or 3 times, it's literally gonna be cured. I ain't gonna even lie to you. Some people can get the ringing in the ear with the side effects of medications. See, this is why I don't deal with pharmaceuticals. There's always some other shit with it. Several types of medications can cause tendinitis, so you guys can look that up if you're having that issue or you're concerned about that. Maybe something you're taking. If you're having consistent ringing in the ears, might be causing you a type of issue. So make sure you're checking that out. If you had any type of head injury or a certain neck injury, this can cause the tinnitus as well. So a lot of patients suffer from the tinnitus, experiencing the ringing in the ears after a head or neck injury. So if you've been in a car accident or something of the sort, and you notice after that is when you start having that ringing, that's the explanation of some of that, right? Certain noise-induced hearing loss occurs when daily sounds from environments such as the television, traffic, appliances, damaging the sensitive structures in the inner ear, because there's certain structures in the inner ear that's very delicate. That's why they say it's the eardrum. It's easy to have a fluctuation of sound frequency, all of that. So any type of noise and things, obviously, is going to pull that into the inner ear and it can cause damage. So that's something else. Don't have a lot of noise. You're around a lot of noise all the time. Try to put in some earbuds or something that can kind of quiet that noise up for you. Osteosclerosis also is an abnormal growth of bones surrounding the staples in the bones of the middle ear. This prevents the stapes bone from moving freely, which is required to hear very well. I'm wondering I'm not sure if a person has that issue. If my particular oil will help with that, seeing that it's cell rejuvenating, and it actually reduces inflammation, swelling, and things of that nature, it probably would. So I'll say that. In tumors, some tumors, such as the caustic neuroma, can cause the tinnitus, and a caustic neuroma, also known as a vestibular sconoma, is a benign tumor that develops on the cranial nerve. Ooh, that must be very painful. Which controls balancing and hearing, and it also causes the tinnitus and the affected ear. So my old definitely would work with that. So just so you guys know, the things I know, I'll say. Cigarette smoking. Cigarettes contain many chemicals such as formaldehyde, arsenic, vinyl chloride, hydrogen, cyanide, ammonia, and nicotine. Some of these substances are ototoxic, so they can impair hearing and result in the unsteadiness, dizziness, and tinnitus. The chemicals in cigarettes can constrict the blood vessels and cause reduction of blood flow to other parts of the body, including the inner ear. As you know, it can cause other issues. Cigarette smoking is not promoted. It's something that is not good for you, definitely. Temporal mandal Hold on. Temporal mandibular joint syndrome. Temporal mandibular joint allows side to side and front to back movements during chewing. Oh, so it affects the jaw as well. The tinnitus can affect your jaw. Syndrome is pain in the. Almost finished, bro. Syndrome is pain in the jaw joint. Some symptoms associated with TMJ syndrome, including pain in the face, the jaw, headaches, neck pain, earaches, limited jaw movements, difficulty opening the mouth, and tinnitus. It also affects that. So, dang, my oil definitely helps with that, guys. I had a customer that actually used it for that, for the jaw, and having some issues. I didn't know that the tinnitus was affected with that. But before I read the last one, what you was going to say, bro?
I said I knew I heard mandible in that word, and you got to saying, about the up and down, left and right chewing. How we,
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? That's all. Just like an ant's mandibles,
No, I'm
and
not
that's
familiar. What do you
and
mean,
that's
bro? What is an
uh,
ant's mandible?
yeah, the ant's mandible, the two fangs on the front they face. That's the chewers where they'll bite you, beat them.
Oh,
That's they mandibles. All ants and insects. That's they tooth, and it's called the mandibles.
yes, yes. I hadn't
And
heard
that's
that, but that
and
makes
that's
sense.
what we have in the back. The molars. That's what we call them, though.
Okay. Good info. Appreciate that, bro.
Right on.
Okay. Yeah, I never heard of that, to be honest. So the Meniere's disease. This is the last one. Meniere's disease is a progressive condition that can result in permanent hearing loss, so it can't be repaired. It can affect individuals of any age, but most commonly occurs in adults in their 40s and 50s. Meniere's disease can cause dizziness, muffled hearing, tinnitus, depression, and anxiety. Wow. So the loss of that hearing can cause depression and anxiety. This is, something to be aware of, guys. So if you're having any type of ringing in your ears, any of these things could be possible. So just double check it. I just thought that was important because there is certain things that spiritually can be affected with the ringing in the ears as well. But yeah, do either one of y'all want to say anything about any of those things as well before we get to the other one?
Oh, you got it, sis. I'm taking
Um,
it in. I'm appreciating the info.
what about you, sis? Sis, you stepped away from it. You there?
No, I'm here.
Oh, I just want to know if you want to say anything about what I just read with all those different things, or you good.
Hmm. Oh, the part that you said about what was it? The cigarette smoking.
Yes.
I read yesterday that eating bananas can help you stop with smoking because of the B12 vitamins in it, and
Awesome.
and something else. What was it? But I don't remember the name. But yeah, it really helps you with the cravings.
Okay, probably mint leaves are good, and even it's a certain I forgot the name of it. I'm gonna find out now. We'll talk about this one day for
Okay.
people that need the help with that. So with that, so real quick spiritually, guys, we'll talk about that. So from a spiritual point, the left and right ear ringing mean certain things for like super intuition and superstition. These are superstitious things. Let me just put that out there. Some things that we call superstitions don't mean that they're not true. They just call them superstitions. Just keep that in mind. So it says, what does it
No
mean
doubt.
when your right or left ear rings? What does the ringing in the ears mean spiritually? Do your ears ring when someone is thinking about you? Today you will get useful information about left ear ringing. Sis brought this up, so this is why we're going to this real quick, guys. And then we're going to finish the last sense from what our Hopi people talked about. Ringing in the ear is a common experience of almost every human being. The left or the right ear ringing due to any medical condition is known as tinnitus. Tinnitus affects about 15 to 20% of people, especially in old age. You saw that. So if you're experiencing any of this, blah, 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 da, da, da. If you're a perfectly healthy individual starts to hear ringing noise and buzzing sensations in their ear, then it might not be related to the physical body or world. A widely accepted myth or belief is that the sensation of ear ring is related to the divine sound of the universe and the resonance with the creator's energy. So it's very possible that this so-called superstition also relates to everything we've just been talking about, also relates to what Sis was just talking about, also relates to the spiritual psyche, the psychic abilities, and the telekinesis, pathy, and the psychopathic things that we are, our abilities that we have that we don't really have the strength to tap into. So I think that's important. As I said, what was I? A widely accepted myth or belief is that the sensation of earring is related to the divine sound of the universe and the renaissance with the creator's, in the resonance with the creator's energy. Based on the individual's experience, the left or right ear ringing tones can be a difficult pitch. Intensity and frequency, the ringing tones might be a high pitch or a low pitch, irritating or peaceful. So it says, what does it say? Spiritually, all living creatures are connected to. Wow, this ties right back into what we were talking about as well. Isn't this something? This is why I love confirmation. And it was important for us to go into this for another reason that confirms something else we talked about. It does for me. I don't know about anybody else, but we can talk about that too. Says all living creatures are connected to the spiritual world in a variety of ways. Likewise, people in the physical world are connected to their guiding angels who are trying to send signs and messages to the people. When they say guiding angels, we all have angels. That's our spiritual guides that are ancestors, the enlightening information that are in the light codes, the mother cells that we're born with. They come down from all our ancestors. So this is true when we come to that. But when it comes to the physical angels with wings, things don't think about that like that. But either way, um, trying to send messages. So, ring in the ear is one of the many ways angels come to communicate with people from, which is your ancestors, your spiritual enlightenment. When you come enlightened, the code, the binary coding within your system, within your body, actually opens up certain information to make you even more enlightened from the inner self. And this is how you get information where things will start to gravitate towards you, start to come towards you, start getting information out of nowhere. Bam, bam, that shit will start hitting you and be like, oh, I wasn't even looking for it. Here goes something else that showed me this. But yeah, that's how it happens, y'all. So, from a spiritual or out of the world point of view, the ear ringing, often taken as a sign and signal from the angel or spirit guides, it detonates the shift in the vibrational states of the human spirit. Oh my gosh, let's read that again. From the spiritual or out of the world point of view, the ear ringing is often taken as a sign and signal from the angels or spirit guides. It denotes, I'm sorry, I said detonates. It denotes the shift in the vibrational state of the human spirit. Before I read on, what do y'all got to say about that? That's like, tell me
That's
this
so
thing
fire.
talking about everything we already been talking about. And we don't,
I
now we just
mean,
talking about the ringing.
that's so fire. Um, look, soul fire, sister soul. You know what I mean? Because like where you just read that, kind of say like this is the things that we gone through. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've broken down and built up, so you know what I mean, and I've been steady ever since. But it was a time where the ringing was annoying me, like it kept me from sleeping. That's say the one of the main reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But once I got control of it, I'm fine.
That's
I'm
right.
fine. It's like I wonder if that's like say what our elders, where they be talking to theyself.
Mm.
They won't give a damn who around. They'll be talking to it seem like other people, like where you just
Yeah.
spoke on the angels or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Hearing
The
it, hearing, being
download.
resonant, being connected to everything, we're able to hear these things. That is the what were we talking about earlier? One of the other abilities, right? So that means you're being more awakened and coming into other awareness, and you're actually tapping into your clairaudience,
on,
right?
on whole other levels.
That's
Wow.
what it is.
Mm,
That because my sister also has had that ringing in her ear, but it kept on bugging her, just like you mentioned, Mindset.
mm.
And it was later she discovered it was the ancestors trying to wake her up.
Mm-hmm.
And when
And
she
they say
finally,
it's a shifting. It said that it controls the shifting,
Your
shifting of
spirit.
the person, of your spirit, actually coming more out of the physical and into the
Mm.
spiritual, basically. You know.
And tell me, do y'all feel it when y'all teach, or when you speak, it's like how you get revenue or you rev an engine, say NASCAR or any car, you want to race the rev up,
Mm-hmm.
say the boxers be standing there jumping left foot, right foot, they be jumping off each foot. Like where I be teaching this, it's kind of like revving an engine. I feel it in my heart. I feel it like something about endorphins. They say, you know what I mean. But it's kind of like connectivity. Like say if we was in the flesh and we did something like you just grab me and hug me like, boy, this you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. It's comprehension on another level where once you get it down and you see it, man, it's something, man. It's like revenue. They call money revenue, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
revenue. Some will be the bearer of so-called bad news, and some will bring great, say solutions.
Right.
Mm.
Right. So with
So
the
yeah.
ring, the last of the oh, sis, did you want to say something about that?
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, so ringing in the right or left ear is a sign that you are developing your psychic or spiritual abilities to peak. What you just said, sis, right? This is what your sister experienced. This is what she literally went through, and it's talking about that.
Mm.
So, reaching the spiritual peak into or to access the higher realms of existing. So that means you're what? Ascending, like I said, becoming less dense and you're creating the spiritual balance where it's going more into the spiritual realm and actually ascending yourself out of a lot of the other things, right?
That's so fire.
Yeah, and but when I describe it as ringing, but it's really not. It starts with a feeling like at the side of both my head, and then it's like a buzzing sound, and it goes up in my brain like a voice within, but it's like a little buzz. Like I don't know how to explain it, but
Buzz Lightyear.
I yeah, I don't know, but with there's also a sense of touch or feeling because you know those superstition they call it superstition when you how do you say that you get your hand or the inside of your hand is itching. In
Mhm.
Suriname we say if it's your
Right.
right hand it means you're getting some money
The
soon to
left
you.
hand is a letter.
Or yes, you see.
Fortune or
So
misfortune.
yeah, so it's the same with your left ear and your right ear. So but I've never really how do you say that paid attention which ear, but because for me it's both and it goes up into my head like a buzzing feeling.
Hmm.
That's fire.
So, so normally the right or left ear ringing, as we said, we're going to go back again. It's going to take us back to something we just discussed on a whole total different subject, right? So here it is. Normally, right or left ear ringing means so many things that are happening on the subtle spiritual level, right? The third eye opening. Now, I just said that. I said that's showing the same connectivity to the unveiling of the eye with that the psychic retinal therapy, right?
Ears
And think
popping.
about that. Even with that, saying the same thing. And then it also says the clairaudience. We just talked about that. And it also says spiritual awakening, connection with the energy source. Didn't we say that earlier?
Yeah,
Yep.
I
Ain't this
like that.
something? Look how this just brought the
Hmm.
literally everything we said just broke it down. Talking about we just talking about the ringing in the ears.
Mm.
So
What you
normally, I'm
bring?
gonna read that
Bring
one
it.
more time. Normally, right or left ear ringing means so many things that are happening to the subtle spiritual level. Third eye opening, clairaudience, another confirmation,
Mm.
spiritual awakening, connection with the energy source. The energy source. What we said is there's only one. We're all connected. We're being disconnected to it with a physical being that is actually taking the place of the original connection and source and trying to disassociate us. But no, we're not going to allow that, right?
Mm.
And that's among other things, right? And it says the omens of spiritual meanings of right ear and ringing and the left ear ringing are totally different, and the most of the time they have the opposite meaning. Generally, the ring in the right ear represents omens good or bad. Didn't sis just say that? She just said with the thing we were talking about with the right and the left. The right one being money, and the left one would be you're getting some type of letter, right? This says the ring in the right ear represents the good or the messages of the universe in the higher realms, whereas the left ear ringing denotes messages about the physical world. So
Mm.
that's just crazy.
Oh
That's
man.
this just said that, and we were just talking
Right.
about the hand thing. It's the same confirmation, right? So
Right.
it says the angels, which I say is the inner spirit, which I tell you is your inner self, which I tell you is the binary coding of your ancestors that's inside of you. These things are coming from inside of you. This ringing, it's not an outside ringing that you're
Mm.
hearing. It's not it's not like somebody came and tickled your hand and said, "Ooh, this letter," or tickled your other hand and said, "Ooh, this money." You know what I'm saying? This is something spiritually. So what? This is coming from inside of you. If you're having some type of physical reaction, which would be something you're hearing in your ear, or something you're feeling, which is another sensitivity in your hand, right? Those psychic abilities or whatever. It suggests your psychic ability and the level of connection between you and the universe's energy source. That's that connection. So the binary coding, as I was just saying, the mother cell, the light code, cells that are inside you from your ancestors. When all this is happening, right? When you're getting this information, it's actually igniting something or a code within you. So now you're getting a reaction in your hand, you're getting a reaction in this hand, you're getting a reaction in your ear or in this ear. It's still all happening from the same thing.
Mm,
What do y'all feel about that? Y'all, do y'all agree with that, or is that just my perception? Y'all
I
know I'm
do.
gonna see things my way.
I do. I agree, and I agree because I, experienced some things like where you said that it make you think, and I remember my ears popping like a sound like a wooden door, like how that's
Hmm.
like a wooden door creak open,
Yeah, yeah,
like and it was like eye opening experiences when this say phenomena happen.
yes,
Um,
exactly that.
things that make you come to tears or like where it hit you deep. Yeah, it's spiritually and soulfully penetrating. You know what I'm saying? And
Exactly. So,
it'll wake your ass up, man.
Yeah.
right. What do
So
you think about that, sis?
yeah, I done been opened like what I mean at the ears right there.
Yeah. I was gonna say something, but I forgot. I forgot. Uh, I don't know.
Oh, it'll come back.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's talk about the high pitched ringing sound in the left ear. It says it's often seen as a sign that good luck is on your way. So if you hear a high pitch, I think you said something about that earlier. Since you said some, because I was saying, sometimes it's a buzzing, sometimes it's somewhere like a ringing. And
yeah.
then it says there's a high pitched ringing sound. And this is seen as a sign of good luck in your way. Similarly, the low pitched buzzing sound in your left ear indicates negative energy in your space right now. So if it's a low pitch, that little irritating like a bug or something in your ear, literally that's a low energy. But if it's high, that's elevating. You have to think something that's higher is elevating. So
Mhm.
that's a
Yeah,
positivity, and that's going to give the good. What would you want to say something on that, Steph?
yeah. Because you said elevating. Because for me, when I get that, that buzzing sound, or it's
Mm,
like high pitched sound, and but then it doesn't. I don't know how to explain it, but it goes up to my, like, I feel it, like my head is
mm.
literally my head is tingling, like, yeah,
You feel the vibration. Actually, it's not
yeah,
just the sound you're hearing; it's the
yeah,
vibration, the movement of the whatever that energy is through your body. You can actually feel it.
yep, yep. And then after that, I remember, like, now, when it's complete silence at night, I can hear it. Just, I describe it as I hear the earth breathing, because I hear that, when everybody's asleep and it's quiet, no cars outside,
Mm-hmm.
and then I hear, mm, mm, like,
The
yeah,
humming,
yeah.
yeah.
I hear a humming sound, like, wait a minute, what's that? And I
Mm,
listen, and I'm like, I get, man, it's this weird. But yeah, those I pick it up now.
Mm.
that's
So when it comes to the right ear, right, it says that the meaning of ringing in the right ear or hearing a sound in the right ear that is a good omen because it indicates any of the following fruitful meanings. This might be interesting. A
Yeah.
good fortune is coming your way in the right ear with that ringing. Right ear ringing means you are going to experience the spiritual gifts in the near future. So not when they say good fortune, it says spiritual gifts. You might have planned your career or study future. You might have faced a job interview, waiting for the results, starting a new business, or so on and so forth. You might have finished your grades or examination if you're in school or something. You're looking forward to it. That ringing is going to confirm for you you're going to do excellent. Whatever you wish for, you're going to have it very soon. Say if you've been wanting something, hey, I want this, I need this, I'm going to work hard for this. You want to manifest it. That ringing is a confirmation of that because your guiding angels, which is your inner self, is letting you know get ready to shift because something else is phenomenal about to happen. It's whispering in your right ear a good fortune to you. That's what that ring is. The right ear meaning someone is thinking of you or talking about you. This is specifically what Sis was relating it to. Here's the one that she talked about. So the ringing in your right ear also acts like an alert arm for you to stay cautious when you trust others. The higher spirit is trying to warn you of negative thoughts of other persons about you. So when they're talking about you, usually if you're not around and you're feeling that ringing in your ear, they saying something negative, something they wouldn't say with you there. Generally, that's what they're saying. Some people might be praising you at a particular moment as well, or others might be gossiping about you. So it's a possibility it's good or bad. You can't trust all people equally. So you have to discern that within yourself what's gonna, what's gonna be working for you. The sign that reads that you are not alone. Although you're in the physical world, you are always being observed by higher spirits from other realms, which is the same energy that we're all connected to, which would be our ancestors, so on and so forth. So, in situations of uncertainty, the ringing in your right ear can bring a sense of hope, comfort, and certainty. It is the indication that your guiding angels and they're fulfilling um, their duty of guiding you in any situation and circumstance. So you're doing the right thing. You're making the right moves. You're manifesting what you want. You're working toward that. These things are going in the right way, so on and so forth. And you are not alone when doing this. Here, as you are interconnected with the spirit of higher realm, so you've elevated to connect yourself to the higher realm and actually elevating to other states, so you'll be able to gravitate more spiritual energy, more awareness, more magnetism towards you, so that these things will work for you. And it's time to work on your spirituality in time. So, human beings should have an overall physical and spiritual growth to fulfill the goal of life. If you get distracted towards the physical world and forget the value of spirituality, the higher spirit will remind you through the right ear ringing to work for spiritual growth. So you may be going through a battle. You may not know it, but you're having some physical things that are tying you down to the simulation. That's why you're having these issues. So that ringing will let you know, hey, you need to work on your spiritual growth. It is a sign that you have to invest your time into meditation. I always talk about this. They say prayer and other works to strengthen spirituality. Prayer actually works because if you're thinking on that, you're actually manifesting what you're talking or thinking on. In the majority of times, the spiritual meaning of ringing in the left ear, right ear, hearing a noise or sound in the left right ear is a bad omen because it reflects any of the following meanings in incidences. So it could be different things for different, what's going on. You just got to make sure what you see, so on and so forth. So hearing the noise of the right and left ear indicates the current situation that might be related to a physical, an emotional, or some other things. So we talked about that. What do you guys feel about anything else we talked about? I know we just, I'm just going all over the place. But when Sis said something about the ringing in the ears, for some reason my spirit said, "Wait a minute, it's more to it than that. Let's get to it." And as you see, man, that was like a lot, and it just was more confirmation of everything we was talking about. I'm just like, wow, I love it. I love confirmation. So, what do you guys
you,
have to say about any of that?
you got me thinking, say ringing is bringing.
Mm-hmm.
You be ringing things in or bringing them out. Say that's a literal bell. You know, just say emotions tied to emotions. All of that. It's look, we the golden children, the golden child.
Brother, oh, you could come up. Negus, what's going on with you, brother? Come on through real quick. You might be able to bring something up just to show us, or just join if you want to. You're
The
welcome to.
gold, the
But go ahead.
gold is like all of the bells is more or less like that goldish color.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Gold is your goal, and it's say bummer or motor lips if you say fail, but you can try again. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right, right.
Emotions and that's what. Are y'all familiar with the heard of a guy called Happy?
Mm-hmm.
So is the devil the guy called Mad? Emotion. You know what I mean?
All of the emotions, anything that's controlling that emotion, I would assume.
Right. And that's like say that's why your piss is gold. Remember we talked about the gold. This was a little while ago, but this is where you be pissed off. You be pissed off if you tied to your energy and motion, or how some will be say too happy. How like people will piss on themselves if they laugh too much.
Mm.
this energy in motion.
Well, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us. No, I want to say is like
They don't really care about us. Right, right. But go
Mm,
ahead.
no. I
Mm.
want to say that man, people
for
need
real.
to get more in touch with their spirit guides, because I know many of us don't believe that we are alone. But how can you be walking alone in this terrible reality? Like, don't
Right.
expect to be like, yeah, I did it by myself. Nope, you had help from your ancestors and your spirit guides.
Yes.
So we have to be or get in tune with our spirit guides, because they're the one guiding us. When you're having a dream and you're flying, in your dream, it's not you, it's your spirit guide showing you the way into the future or into the past. Because sometimes, I dream that I'm 8 years old, and like I literally see myself as an 8-year-old girl again. So so when I have those dreams, I it brings me back. So that means I have to how do you say that, close a chapter
Mm.
by healing that part of myself. And then sometimes I see in the future, those visions. So yeah, it's the ego spirit. I call it the ego spirit, but in other cultures they have other names. So but it's all the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what and we give them animal traits, because they act different. They each have their own character, but they were assigned to us at birth. Like, just like we say we have the eight stem cells.
Mm-hmm.
Some people call it in mythology it's the Ogdad.
Right.
Eight.
The
It's,
eight.
yes. So we have eight main spirit guides, and along the way, like, how do you say that, they work together with our ancestors. So yeah, for me it's like it's really important to get to know, um or that people get to know their own spirit guides, so they can guide them throughout life. Because we never
Right.
walk alone, even though we think we know we do all, yeah, I'm the shit, I do everything. Nope, you get help.
Right.
Each time you
I'm.
cross the street, don't think
Talk
it's you.
about it.
Yeah, each time you walk, you
Mm,
just something was about to happen and you escaped. You're like, yeah, whoo, I'm glad I did that. No, you had help, damn it.
Right. Right. I'm a sky spirit, and this is by nature, and I can't help it. And so the sky shows me a lot, guides me, confirms, talks to me, all that. But yeah, you have to be able to connect to whatever element it resonated, with you. That's very important. Okay, so y'all, let's talk about the last one real quick. The last one is bilocation. Have you guys, either of you ever heard of bilocation?
I
By,
haven't.
by location?
Yeah, bilocation.
Hmm. Talk about it.
Can't say
All
I
right,
have.
let's talk about it. Talk about it. Okay. So bilocation, or sometimes they call it multi-location. So more than bi, mean two, obviously. So they're saying multi-location is possible too. It's an alleged psychic, or what they would consider miraculous ability, wherein somebody, an individual or object is located or appears to be located. I would say a glitch in two distinct places at the same time. Now, the concept has been used in a wide range of certain um, historical and physiological systems, ranging from early Greek philosophy, so you know how we think about the Greek philosophy, to modern religious stories and occultism and magic. So the concept of the bilocation has appeared in early shamanism, paganism, folklore, occultism, like I said, magic, paranormal activity, Hinduism, spiritualism, and theosophy. So it doesn't necessarily mean when you hear like a cold or magic, it doesn't mean anything evil or weird. It's been used in all type of eras, including spiritualism. So and including the New Age and mysticism in generally, as well as like in Islam. They've used it. Christian mysticism and Jewish mysticism, right? So several of the Christian saints and monks and Muslims, they said to have used some of these type of abilities. They exhibited these bilocation abilities supposedly among the earliest in times. They said this happened. So I'm looking now. Let's look at witchcraft in the 17th century. Persons accused of witchcraft were reported to appear in dreams and visions of witnesses. The trials of Bury St. Edmunds and the Salem witch trials included the spectral evidence against the defendants. Matthew Hopkins described the phenomenon in his book, The Discovery of Witches. So now, when we think about what the Hopi people told us, what they said when it came to this, they said they experienced this, right? It was normal for them. This was a part of their regular practice, right? Thinking about the Salem witch trials. So, back then, the indigenous people that dealt with the spirits and nature, and so if they were the people that were exhibiting certain telepathy, all these things, they would be considered a witch. They would have thought these people, oh, they're witches, they're evil, they're this, because they're able to move things, they're using telepathy, they're using all these abilities, they can read people's minds, all these things, because they have these abilities natural. It didn't make them a witch. Shit, we just had this? Shit is crazy. But yeah, when you think about it, right? So when we think about it, right? You know what I'm saying? What do y'all think about that? Ain't that crazy? You know how they were witches, and just like now, certain people be like, "Oh, Sister Soul's a witch," and all this other stuff. It's like, wow,
Mm.
this is crazy.
Motherfuckers hitting all kind of switches,
Yeah,
all kind of triggers. Yeah, this is witchcraft. And
Mm.
look, that's a craft where you got to hit the switch on it.
that's right.
So yeah, it's the intelligence within you, or it's the intent within
They call it witchcraft, but why do they, when they talk about their space shit, they call it a spacecraft?
Right.
you, right?
It's a craft. It's okay for them to use the craft,
The
but
craft, yeah.
but we can't use it naturally. Something that's inside us that we was born with. Like what?
Mhm.
Crazy, crazy, crazy. They crazy.
All they give us to use is confusion against each other, busting each other's heads, or what's that mediocrely getting along? Because you ain't doing shit with that money. That money got you trapped. Care how much you got,
Yep,
in the,
and
Yes.
and it's
in the
usually
state of this being right now.
if they don't know it, they automatically think it's the occult or witchcraft, or because they,
Typically,
yes, because in order to do witchcraft, the real one, not the fake, you have to have a spirit and a soul. They
Right.
can, they work with spirit because many
talking
of
about
us.
them babies,
Hmm.
got to
So
get the body made.
yeah, because it involves feeling. That's why every um cultural or spiritual practice that's out there,
Okay,
it has a good side, and like it has good and bad, because in Suriname we call it winti. Winti means the wind, wind, the
Mm-hmm.
wind energy, literally. So we call our practice winti. So, but winti, the bad side of winti, we call it wisi. That's
Mm-hmm.
when you do blood sacrifices for money and fame, and
mm,
so every how do you say that? Yeah, just like they say black magic, white magic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
dark and light.
every, yeah, every craft can be used for good and for evil. But I practice Winti, the good side. We work with nature,
How
mama
would you
nature.
how would you spell that?
Winti,
Yeah,
Winti.
with a T.
Yes,
Okay,
Winti. Yeah,
look, we got the $20 bill.
20. Okay.
That's something. That's
Yeah.
kind of intricate. 'Cause
Hmm.
where it sounds just like that money number. You know what I mean?
Winti.
You gotta breathe. You remember we talked about that Do y'all like say the teeth is like a vent, and as long as you breathing through that mouth, you keep the invention alive. You keep the idea that's you a real event. Wind, breathe in and blew out like you are. Every breath is keeping you. You know,
Yeah,
keeping
the breath you breathe, the breath you
yeah,
breathing in is breathing in death, basically, because you're bringing in this physical, more into the physical, pulling life into the physical.
yeah, say the air in the room. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Keep your body, every breath, keep your body, you know what I mean? Aerated and ventilated. Like you are invention, man. We can dish out so much stuff. It's just hit the, they didn't compromise the mind. Cause the mind, the body will follow the mind. But right now it's really the mind following the body. Like how you touch on fire, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just realizing it with your eyes that it's gonna burn. We gotta touch it. Say as children is if you end up burnt, like what are your parents doing? Like what was going on? You know what I'm saying? Because this is a form of losing your mind where you don't keep up with these children. Total, you know what I mean? Mind loss. That's a whole vessel or say body cell of information that you didn't lost. You
Right.
know, tangible people or friends, like where you can call them up. It's kind of like we said yesterday, like where you would give up a jewel. Say this jewel will allow whoever you gave it to start up their own business. You don't even want nothing from them or need nothing from them. Just give the idea up. You ain't gotta big me up or anything like that. But this is how, like, if I don't get to do it, somebody can do this. You know what I'm saying? You have all these. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what me
Mm-hmm.
and sisters all do all the time. We bring out ideas, and if you want to go with it, run with it, take it.
Take it.
That's all
hmm
we
We hear about a lot of people talking, saying you stole this from me.
do. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where if you out here paying attention, you know what I mean? Hey, you done gave that up.
Hmm.
So it can be real, petty. And that's what say the zones we living in. Instead of just go ahead and lose your mind with your control. You know what I'm saying? You know how we talked about Nikola Tesla being technical, the tech nickel, the tech nine. Take your shit. I'll take your idea with this tech nine. And Nikola Tesla was running from everybody. Let the story be told. He got
Right.
robbed for all his ideas.
But
Yeah.
You-
oh,
What was
Huh?
you gonna say, sis? Because I was gonna read this last little thing before I get ready to close this out. Because I got to do my show later, so I'm gonna do a couple of things.
oh yeah, it's Sunday, right? No,
Yeah.
I wanted to
It is.
ask, like, do you think there are still Hopi people left?
Oh yeah, they are. They're still helping people. But it says like anything else, they white it out. But even still, the people, are still there. But we still have that race of people. Just like everything else, like I said, most of them have been whited out, and a lot of them were destroyed because it was very few, so on and so forth. But we know, obviously, originally from hundreds of thousands of years ago, who the people were, and telling the story, about our people from then.
Yes. Hmm.
A lot of
So
people
I'm
got hope now.
Right. So I'm gonna read this last piece before I get ready to get out of here. and this will
Okay.
lead into part two because we're gonna do a part two into this, and I'm gonna talk about the insectoid races and things when it comes to that. Eventually, however, this ecological and psychological harmony began to unravel and dissension developed. The dissension, the lowering of the nature. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, guys, if you remember. According to the Hopi legend, one handsome and beguiling creature named Katoya appeared in the form of a snake with a big head. Sound familiar? Another name, Moki, also known as Lavahoya, literally the talker, behave ferociously like the mockingbird does today. Just like this story talks about, this is where they get the Adam and Eve story from. And Eve going to the tree of knowledge, and the tree of knowledge, the snake talked to her, he beguiled her, blah, blah, blah. This is literally that story. This is where they get this from. This is why I keep telling y'all, stop saying throw out the Bible. They just have our information, take our story from our ancestors, and they put it into ways so they can find ways to control us by giving us factual information that we can resonate with. But this is right here telling you guys that this is the story of Eve going to the tree, but it's telling the true story, if you can hear it with the inner ear. Okay, together the pair plotted to make mischief because of those creatures' constant chatter, gossip. People began to gossip and fight, distractions. Now we're going through all that right now. Gossip and fight and chatter about each other, putting people down, going against each other, all the distractions of the ways of the world. We're going through all this right now. And it says
Mm.
distracted, and they were all distracted from the ways of the Creator. So being distracted from the Spirit and away from the source of energy that guides us all, that we should be under the organic cycle of life. This is what's happening by going away and being distracted from the ways of the natural, spiritual Creator. They started to notice how they were different from the animals. This is when they started separating from the coincidence with the animals, being on the same telepathy and being coincide with everything that the earth had,
Mm.
with every living creature. They started to disseminate them because of all these things they had distracting them from the ways of the Creator. They also began to see divisions in races, languages, and religions. This is where we talk about the Tower of Babel, and everything started happening with all the arguing. People couldn't understand each other. They started talking different languages. They went to all these different religions. People
Mm.
started going into different areas, so on and so forth. Their skin started changing because they started developing different frequencies and changes and mixing biologically with other realms of people. We're going to get into that now, but as well as that, in biblical terms, they had eaten from the tree of knowledge. Didn't I just say that? Of good and evil. Genesis 2:17. As a result, paradise was lost. That part was true. Because as soon as they started doing this, when this happened, all these things started happening. They started listening to what the talker, Moki, and Lavahoya told these people to do. They started being disseminated from each other. They couldn't even understand each other. They were connecting with each other mentally, not even using their voice to talk. Once they started falling under everything that these two started telling them, the pair, the plot that plotted against them, the devil per se, Satan per se. This is why they say the devil and Satan. There's two different names they tell you about because they're talking about these two beings, Moki and Lavahoya. So with this, when they started going with what was going on and they started opening up their ears and everything came clear to them, this is how they became more descendant because they were distracted. Okay, and they with this, they were this was the result of paradise being lost and everything changing. The Hopi first world, the entire world, as I told you guys, they were in another world before the Adam and Eve story. I've talked about this many times. It says it and talks about it in that book. It doesn't say it clearly, but if you have ears to hear, and eyes to see, you see that it says the world ended and then it restarted with the Adam and Eve story. This is talking about this. So it says the Hopi first world was terminated in two types of fire. There was a celestial fire in the form of ether, a number of comets and asteroid strikes, or coronal mass ejections from the sun. We're experiencing that now. I know you guys have heard it. They're saying we're having the coronal period. We're into the golden age. We're experiencing
Talk
the
about it.
coronal mass ejection from the sun. They experienced this then. This is what we're going through now. We are going through the time now, guys. You got to be aware of this. This is so important. The
Couldn't be
terrestrials in
sick,
the
man.
form of extreme volcanism as well. The volcanoes that were erupting all over the earth. The creator, sometimes known as the sun god, Tawa, Taawa, the sun god. We hear this again. The sun god told the sky god, Salaknang, Sataknang was the sky god to eliminate the evil people and destroy the land on which they lived. These two celestial beings will play a role in the destruction of two subsequent other worlds ages as well. So when we think about the sky god Tawa and Satanag, that sounds like God and Jesus. According to the classic volume book of the Hopi by Arthur Frank Waters, if you want to look more into the story, get more in-depth information from this guy's study. I'm not very familiar with it, but it does offer his information. The Hopi informant Oswald Whitebear, I'm assuming this is more an indigenous person. I will seek information from him. The Satanag destroyed the world by fire because the Fire Clan had been its leaders. He rained fire upon it. He opened up the volcanoes. Fire came down from above and below. As above, so below. And all around until the earth and waters and air and all was one element. Everything combined. The earth and waters, the air, all fire, everything combined. There was nothing left except the people inside of the womb of the earth. How did these people get there, you ask? Let's talk about that. If the Fire Clan and the Coca was indeed in charge of the first world, then perhaps this clan's sorcery was, at least it says this clan's sorcery, the witchcraft they were using, the sorcery. When you see here source, there is a source of information, a source of spiritual inclination, was at least partly responsible for its destruction. The Coca would also be partially involved in the devastation of the second world. That was the second world destroyed during the demise of both worlds. The righteous proto-Hopi would seek refuge in subterranean caverns. They went into the caves to seek refuge. The survivors were protected by what they call the ant people. The survivors were protected by what they call the ant people, or the Anu Scion people. The ant people or the Ainu Scion people. We are called these people insectoids. We're going to talk about this in the next segment of this. Who welcomed the chosen native people into their ant kivas, the caverns, the caves that they went into. They were the ants' cave dwelling. The insectoid beings lived on the inner earth. They still do to this day, guys. I've talked about this before. A kiva is a subterranean communal prayer chamber that the Hopi use for religious rituals to this day. Sis just asked about this. Are these people still around? Yes, sis, they're around. They still use these religious caverns to this day. I have personally, this is the speaker that we were reading this from earlier, guys. I forgot his name, but you know.
That's where you get the Cavaliers.
I have personally seen petroglyphs, rock carvings from in northern Arizona that depict this type of therianthropic entity. We've seen this, guys, on these rocks, and we're looking like, what is these stick figures? You see like these insect-looking beings they have painted on the rocks. It's literally talking about this. We've seen this. I know y'all have seen this over the years. If you're in the conscious community,
talk about them
all the time. I jumped on his panel one day to talk to him a little bit about it. We had a little chat, but yeah, I didn't get too much into it with him. But specifically, they were half ant, half human. These they are benevolent beings, guys. Half ant, half human. These benevolent crypto. They're doing cryptocurrency now. These benevolent crypto creatures taught the people how to sprout beans in the darkness and how to store food. Ant colonies. We look at ant colonies today. The small ant colonies now that are also demised and diminished to the smaller size because they have been minimized. These skills are currently celebrated during the Pawama or the bean dance ceremony in February on the Hopi reservation. There is a Hopi reservation. In February, they have a bean dance ceremony. They are actually at this time celebrating this, and they're being saved with the ant people having these caverns to be able to go into, so on and so forth. What caused the fire in the sky that resulted in such an absolute destruction? Sometimes scientists claim that it was a massive comet that exploded over North America about 12,900 BP. That's before present time, wiping out a number of animal species, including mammoths, mastodons, American camels, horses, so on and so forth. So we talking about this, guys. We talked about the land over in certain areas, even in like Georgia and certain places where they have these crystallization over the land, and these things happen. This is proof of this right now. So yeah, I just want to say that before I
Mm-hmm.
get out of here, guys, because
Yeah, that's
next
fine.
segment, we're going to be talking about, we're going to talk more about this. I'm going to actually give you guys a little more information. We're going to talk more about the actual ant people of the Hopi. And we'll dive more into this information spiritually, where it takes me to. And as you see, we can go into different areas and it's still going to bring us right back to the truth. We confirmed that just by the ringing in the ears. I mean, come on, it's the bell. So you listen to the bye bell. There's a double bell ringing within your head to take you to a higher spiritual realm and elevation. So we have to stay privy to this. All right, guys, we're about to be out of here in a minute, guys. I'm at like about almost 3.5 hours, and I got to do my live later. So
Yeah, that's
Jay
gas.
Free, Rashawn. Oh my gosh, I didn't even see the chat, guys. I've been reading peace and love to my chat. You know, I love you guys. Peace and love. Rashawn in the building. Done
Respect
came
to the
through.
chat.
Jay Free. Peace and love, Jay Free. Peace and love, Jay Free to you, brother. We appreciate you as well. You already know. Mo Naga, thanks so much for coming through. Peace and love. Peace and love. Make sure you guys are looking out and joining me later. I'm going to have Chief Sun Owl on. She's going to be going over some information with the indigenous stuff for my show on the main radio at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard, Central Standard. Oh Lord, I'm so used to Eastern, Central Standard Time. So make sure you guys are looking out for that video, because we're going to be going over some good information. She's going to let us know about her tribe. You know how she came into the ancestry, or helping people, enhancing them into going into their ancestry and knowing what to do, and so on and so forth. So we're really appreciating that. So right now, guys, we're gonna
That's
close
right.
it out after a few words with Sis. Sis, you have anything you want to say, darling? Appreciate you, of course.
Yes, I want to thank you for this great information. It was a fire build, fire panel. Um, oh, I wonder. I saw Didi Alexander in the chat.
Yes.
Does she know, or is it? Did she come over the last time?
What you mean about the raffle?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've been discussed that.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I didn't see her the last time in the chat, so I thought maybe she didn't know. But yeah, I want to say once again, about the ant people. Ask the Cosmo kid; she'll tell you all about it because she had a personal encounter with them. So that's all about that.
With the ant people. Okay, maybe we'll have Sis come up here on live with us and we can discuss it, because yeah, these people exist. I mean, I be telling y'all about this stuff. Y'all gotta listen. Y'all gotta pay
That's
attention.
right.
My
That's right.
audience is just a little different when it comes to the show, but when it comes to YouTube, guys, I really go intently with y'all. I take a lot of time with y'all outside of what I do on my radio platform. So I really do this because I want you guys to be aware of this information, take it into you, and do whatever you can with it. Whatever you choose to do with the information, just hopefully it's beneficial, because that's why I do it. So that's all I have to say.
That's
Um,
right.
Jay
Respect to
Free
you,
said,
sir.
look up the cryptids and the mysterious creatures video. We'll do that, brother. Appreciate that. So
That's
yeah.
right.
Anything else you have to say about that, sis, but we get ready to get out of here?
No, no. I just once again thank you for the information. I'll be tuning in later. When you do your live with Chief Sun Owl, was it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be listening
Opera.
in the chat. So once again, much love, much respect and honor, and peace to everybody in the chat also.
Yes. Peace to my chat. I love my chat. Y'all know y'all the best. All
Right.
right, brother.
Right.
What you had to say before we get up out of here, bro?
Oh man, I respect the learning. You know, I keep on burning with you. Can't wait till next time. Everybody, think up, come
Yes.
back
Think
down,
up.
think back up again. You know what I mean?
That's right. Elevate, elevate. Don't
Self respect
escape.
to you. You and
I
Alma, y'all know y'all great.
appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys for coming up. Thanks so much for being another word, and helping me to explore some of my thoughts as well. It's definitely appreciated. And my chat, I appreciate you guys for coming through. Everybody that came through, you guys are awesome as always. I'm hoping that I was able to give any type of information that was beneficial. I appreciate my panel, my Zai, Sister Amazon, for joining me today. Shout out to Grandma Alka Nepa. Shout out to Ricky Young that came through as well. Thank you so much. We appreciate you guys. And we also had Susan Thompson come through. Shadow Band Dojo. Appreciate you. Solar Main Earth, Moon, and Sun. My bro J Mai. We also had Big Dog Philly pop through. Appreciate you, bro. And I don't want to miss anybody. Didi Alexander, one of my top faves. You one of my top moderators. And Prophet Pre came through. Executive Sessions, Truth Over Lies. Hard to Explain. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you as well. You already know Negus Roselle. My bro has some good information. He's going to be joining us for part 2, going over some pertinent information on the show probably next Wednesday, guys. Make sure you're looking out for that because, you know, we did a fantastic build last week with Brother Roselle. He gave us some fantastic information. Make sure you're subscribing to his channel. The information is in there. Yeah, and Rashawn came through. Jay Free, Mo Naga came through. We appreciate you guys so much. Thanks so much for showing out for Sister Soul's panel review of, you know, the information. I hope you guys were blessed and you guys had anything that you can take and share with somebody else. And, you know, it's nothing but love from me. Anything you can do today, make sure you guys are doing that. Make sure you're out. Anything you have, even if you got like if you cook today, you got extra food, don't put it up in the refrigerator. Make a couple of plates, take them, maybe hand them out to somebody homeless today. A couple of things of water, you know, a couple of snacks, something like that, some old clothes, some old shoes, anything like that. Keep it in your car. Make sure you're looking out for somebody if you can. We appreciate you guys so much for coming through, and you be blessed until later. Make sure you guys are tuning in later to Sister Souls talk about it on the main radio. So that we'll be able to go over a little bit of information on our past and how you might be able to look into ways to get some information on your indigenous background. Chief Sun Owl will be my special guest, and she will definitely be going over some pertinent information. She's a blessing and a sweetheart, so I'm sure we'll have a very good show. So make sure you guys are staying privy to that. And yeah, that's it. Tune in to themainradio.com each and every Sunday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Central Standard Time. And you'll be able to see Sister Soul on Talk About This segment. And make sure you're tuning in tonight at 6. All right, guys. Brother said, do like back in the day and tell folks you cooking. All the women should cook on Sundays if they can. I know that's right, bro. They better be cooking. Better have it done already. Me, I get up early. I'm up early in the morning anyway. Every morning I'm up early on a Sunday morning as well. So when I'm up, you know, to cook, I'll just start cooking early, get everything out the way. And yeah, all set by 12, 1 o'clock. We done. So peace and love, guys. Make sure y'all are out there cooking, take care of your family, and showing love. All right, guys, I'm out.